I won't be denied.
Hello and welcome to some more College League of Legends. My name is Blue Jay, and today I have for you a great matchup here. Aquinas Esports, our Saints, versus University of Illinois Chicago for round 2 of College League of Legends tournament. We're excited to get this one set up today. We've already jumped into drafting phase, and right away we have Sejuani and Seraphine taken off the table. So no more Moonstone Renewer compositions with this Seraphine pick. I did cast for Oakland University on Tuesday, and we saw Seraphine as a very big power pick in this meta. The ability just to build Imperial Mandate, Moonstone, or Leandries, go in mid lane or support, provides so much flexibility for this champion. And we're already taking off Yone, Akale, and Twisted Fate respectively, and we'll see what this last ban is going to be for the side of Illinois Chicago. Looks like they're taking their time on this one. The Aquinas did rush in, so they have a game plan ready. They're ready to kick this one off over here on blue side, while Illinois Chicago is on red side. And let's give you the lineups. Fate's Call in the top lane, Obi Toppin in the jungle, Stevenator in the mid lane, PJR 00 as our ADC, and Tybro as support. Over here on red side, we have Pagoda on the top lane, Philip in the jungle, Raizo in the mid lane, Turtle as AD carry, and Ratchet for support. Looks like they're picking up the Kaisa, another stable power pick. This champion does it all. If you want to bust some tanks, pick it up. If you want to squash some squishy champions, Kaisa does that as well, with the mobility to get around the map and set up plays with the rest of her team. And they are hovering this Janna, which is a little bit of an odd pickup, but it could go a few different places. We did see it broken out on this top lane in a few different leagues, but Olaf picked up for Aquinas, and it is going to be the Galio to match up with this Kaisa. We'll see what Aquinas is feeling here. Again, Olaf is probably the best carnivore jungle in the game right now. Maybe you could argue for, Talia or Pantheon, though Pantheon is used more as a power flex pick. You can throw it in so many different lanes in multiple matchups. So it is going to be the Leona for Tybro here in the support. That one doesn't get flexed around as much. Galio could still go into the mid lane, so we'll see if they want to throw that in the bot lane or for some Roman in the mid lane. Who knows? And we are going to see this last pick for Aquinas, the Jhin, here in the bot lane versus the Kaisa. Fairly decent matchup, is able to provide a lot of support carrying capabilities. And typically when you think of an AD carry, you think of them being the main carry, but Jhin can do it as well, in the sense that you just have to throw your deadly flourish out there, catch a few people with the curtain call, slow them down, and set up picks for the team, and it's perfect for something like Olaf, which wants to get into the fight. And while Jhin can't be in that fight himself, he can provide support and lock them down so you can land those axes. So it is going to be the Camille and Galio combo here for Illinois Chicago as they round out the first phase. Now, we did have Zoe taken off the table. Don't think I mentioned that one, but Stevenator is not going to be getting his hands on that Zoe. He did have some effective uses in it before. I've seen a few different scrims, and Zoe is so annoying to deal with. So, totally support taking that one out of the game. Looks like they've missed a ban here. We don't see chat, so we'll see if they're discussing what happened in this phase, but it does look like no ban coming out right now. That's not something you really want to see. Take all the chances that you have to impede the enemy team, right? In a game like this, it is a strategy game at the very least. And everything you can do to put the enemy team behind, even if that's just taking off a simple champion or something that you're not exactly sure that they can pick, but take out that capabilities, you want to do that. So Graves taken off the table does have a fairly favorable matchup into the Olaf, especially with the phase rush build. So you do get out, weave in and out of these fights, makes it pretty easy for him to just avoid the Olaf in these skirmishes. And eventually you get so many items, you can just put the Olaf through the blender. And Lucian taken off the table as well, so another AD carry taken out here. Probably they're guessing that Galio is going to support, which I do like that matchup. Galio is actually very, very good into this Leona. You do see it hovered and picked up all across the region here. We've seen it into the LEC, and we've seen it in the LCS. It's very nice. You just start channeling that taunt as soon as that Zenith Blade lands for Leona, and she gets taunted up. You get that damage mitigation from that Galio, and you just stop whatever they're trying to do. Now Jarvan picked up for the jungler, and this is more of a classic counter pick into the Olaf. Something we don't see a lot right now. Right now we are seeing a lot more power farming junglers and then transitioning those item and level leads into the mid game here. Jarvan doesn't really do that as well. He does have quite a few decent mythics, I would say. You know, he can go for more tank builds. He can go even for chem tank if he wants to, just run people down, manage that slow, and then do your flag and drag combo. But he can also go for a gore drinker build, just dump in the midst of all of that, have enough damage there to take out an AD carry, and then heal right back up, and then starts going to tank build. So a few different interesting builds you can build out of this Jarvan pick. Like I said, it is a classic counter to Olaf because Olaf really has to run at you. He has no dashes. He has nothing he can do to really get out of the way, and Jarvan just presses R, locks him down, and allows your team to just go all in on that champion while everyone else kites back. Now, Aquinas does round out their draft with a Syndra and a Shen, so they're really putting all of their eggs in one basket here on this Olaf, right? The rest of these champions are really semi-carries and support champions, right? Shen, well, he is amazing in lane versus Camille, being able to block her Q resets, her precision protocols. He really wants to support all these things, and we are being knocked out of this. It does look like there's a slight error where some champions weren't able to trade across. They are going to reset this lobby, but we will be loading back in here. It is a bug in our client. We've had a few of these. So we'll see while we go back through. Just run it all the way back. We'll see if they want to ban the same stuff. They might just do power bans here, just line everyone up in a row who wasn't picked or banned. It is a little off though, because we didn't really have a lot of time to see where everyone is. Like you see, they're just banning A champions and trying to pick and get back into the game as soon as possible. Back to what we had though. Syndra there in the mid lane, right? It is actually don't remember what they had against like a million 30 seconds, but the Syndra again is going to be a lot more supporty in these matchups. You're really looking for the Olaf to do a lot of these damages. You do have a lot of the passive of Leona actually breaking out some damage as well for the Olaf. And as you see, they are just going to pick their champions in order. No strategy at this point. So the Syndra is very, very nice into the Galio as well. You can just stun him out whenever he tries to do the Justice Punch, just scatter him all over the place. It's good into different engaged champions as well, like the Camille and like the J4. And it looks like another bug as well, as someone has been pushed out of the lobby. Really unfortunate here. Technical issues are all over the place right now. And we're back in. It is again another bug where it does say these champions are actually here. Cho'Gath is not one of these picks, but let's go over some of the key points from Illinois Chicago here, where they have the Camille, Galio, and J4 combo, right?
Good to know.
This is ridiculous. You just choose one person, and sometimes you can pin in a whole team if you get the J4 ultimate right. That Cataclysm can do a lot of work here to set up the rest of his team coming through. But you use the Hex Deck Ultimatium with the Cataclysm and into the Galio, just ultimate, flying all over everybody and knocking them all up. So this is really just gonna be tough for at least one member of Aquinas over here on this side, and they have to pull this off pretty perfectly though, because they do have a lot of different engage and disengage abilities for Aquinas College. I think Obi Toppin in the jungle here is going to be the man to watch in this game, because he really needs to get the ball rolling here early into the mid game. Well, you know, Philip over here on this J4, he can provide some very early ganks, right? You have that level 2 cheese that we talk about all the time for the last few years with that Jarvan. He picks up the red buff, goes into a lane, ganks you, burns a flash, goes clearing his jungle a little bit again, then ganks again, and you're pretty much dead. And he has excellent gank assist, especially with this Galio in the mid lane, where you have multiple ways of just engaging onto a Syndra. So as soon as you blow that Scatter the Weak on this Syndra, Steve Nader has to be very careful where the jungle presence is. Now, we did have the Malphite band. Again, it's a good call into the Camille, just a classic counter, especially when you are throwing your entire game plan onto one engage, right? This isn't something that you can really go back on. I think if Raizo plays this right on the Galio, you don't always have to ult in as your team. You can actually play as, kind of this pseudo warden in the backline, just taunting up anyone who's trying to get onto this Kaisa, providing more stacks for her second skin and allowing her to rain damage onto the enemy champion. So looks like we are finally going to be rounding out this draft after. Okay, you know what? I spoke too soon. I lied, guys. Looks like support DC'd again. And so we'll be running it back just a few more times. I am going to take a short coffee break here until we, finally load into game. But those are kind of the draft points that we'd like to look at, right? We want to see the J4 moving in early. The rest of these teams really want to scale up and get these mythic items going. That is kind of the name of the game. Before we would see Olaf take over the game early, J4 take over the game early. Now they just want to power farm, get a double clear in, start on other sides, prioritize the Scuttle Crab or two, and then jump in when those objectives start happening. This, again, is our College League of Legends scene. So this is our second round here, and whoever wins this will go on to face into the third round, and that's where it starts to get very, very tricky. We've had some great competition if you've been looking over at the other colleges. So excited to see how this series turns out. A best of 3 here, and I will be taking a short break while we load into the match. Hello and welcome back to all of our viewers at home, at work, or at school, and a few other places. One of those is probably the only one that you should be doing, but we are back and ready for some action here in match one of Aquinas Esports, our Saints versus University of Illinois Chicago. And already we have a little bit of sneaky action here into the top lane with Aquinas invading on the top bush. However, Pagoda here on this Camille isn't even over here, so they are just invading all the way, a few axes being thrown. If you get tagged by one of those axes at level 1, you're pretty much done. So Obi Top just throwing these out. And Philip over here on this J4 finally does spot it out. He does throw the flag out and gets a little bit of vision here on them, so they know they're over here on this red side. They are not going to collapse, and instead both teams just leave a ward and figure out what's going on. As Ratchet and Turtle here band together and place a ward over by these Raptors. They are going to be seeing where Obi Toppin is going to be pathing here early. Typically, it is going to just be this Olaf on the blue side, full clear, maybe skip a camp or two to get to that Scuttle Crab early, and then do what he can. But Pagoda actually starting, with the sweeper here at level 1. So he will reach level 2 off this first wave and maybe try and abuse that a little bit more, but just wants to make sure that the other team doesn't know where his jungler is going to be at and when he gets there. Few pings coming out, but nothing too much here as Obi Toppin just doing a little bit of clear. Olaf does like to get low into the jungle, speeds up his attack speed, and is able to clear camps much faster as some trading all across the map here. Nothing much really talk about, but we are going to be watching these junglers very, very shortly. Now, we do have Cloud Drake here as the first dragon spawned. Not entirely important unless one team wants to stack Drakes as fast as possible. But as you can already see, Pagoda here on this Camille has reached level 2 and is already chipping away at Fate's Call here in this matchup and decides to go in, with that hook shot. Fate's Call trying to trade back, but, just that tactical sweep, able to heal Pagoda on this Camille just so effectively. He really knows his way around this champion. Again, more trading, nothing much to do. What I am kind of interested here in is some of these different rune choices, right? We do have a summoner spell book here for this mid lane. As a flash in from Rel gets that stun. 00 has to flash away, but Turtle's quickly falling. 00 is taken down to the ignite, but it doesn't go through. Tybro in a 1v2 here as he's trying to land the W. Doesn't quite go in, but Tybro flashing away. Ratchet, however, getting low as he jumps out, and he can't go back in. So being stunned up, and maybe first blood for 00 on a quick turnaround for Aquinas College. And that is an excellent pickup off an overchase here on the bot line of Illinois Chicago. I have to say, that one felt really good at first for the University of Illinois, right? They were able to blow multiple summoner spells out for Aquinas, but they overchased just a little bit. Rill jumping in as a Scatter of the Weak lands into Ryzu, who's trying to taunt up Steven in that mid lane, as Philip here on this J4 tries to run through. But that, as we were saying, that was incredibly close from both sides of the matchup, and multiple summoner spells burned on each side. So we'll see which jungler chooses to pay some more attention as 00 just racking up a little bit more CS. Again, Fate's Call actually, pushing forward on the CS number that will be evened up on that wave. Almost exactly there as multiple people go through, but Pagoda actually, I believe, cancels that hook shot. Now, you have to understand that this is Hex Flash Rel, so she's not going to be leaving too much out of that flash and really wants to, use that when they're roaming around, get those flash ultimates in with that Attracting Repel, as well to come at that stun. As Fate's Call is getting very low, and Pagoda actually has to burn the flash as the hook shot lands in, but an excellent Twilight Shroud keeps Fate's Call alive just a little bit as Pagoda flashes in. It looks like they're going to be trading kills, though, and that's not too bad for both sides, as, they do have that wave, pushing into that tower, so that's actually going to be feeling very bad for the Shen in that matchup. He's going to be losing out on a lot, so he might TP, but Philip here is hanging around in the jungle as Pagoda decides to TP first, and Fate's Call, while risky, and he might be losing some experience, makes the right choice and not teleporting as he did realize that J4 was on a ward. Now, both sides getting that scuttle as they do go in onto this rail, but a teleport coming out for this Gallo here. He's able to burn this because he has that summoner spell book, so it's not going to feel too bad, but he does use the Justice Band, so knocks up Tybro, who's going very low. We'll see who decides to get that kill over, and Turtle does claim that, fourth kill of the match, and now 1-0-0 on this Kai'Sa, matching up very nicely against 0-0 on Jhin. So this bot lane already a point of action for both of these teams. However, they are going to use that little skirmishing fight, an excellent TP from Raizo, that TP flank, as Stevenator hits level 6, but he's going right into Raizo, but he doesn't have any backup here, and Stevenator might just turn this, just ults all the way onto Raizo, scatters him into that. He has to burn the flash, and Stevenator comes up on top. Hook shot misses for Bedouin, and the top lane Fate Skull just trades out a little bit, but we do have a little bit of a roam coming out of Ratchet here. Moving over to the mid lane, Stevenator sniffs this one out over and hovers over by Obi Toppin, who's taking up that top Scuttlecrab, already pulling up a little bit on that CS. So really just doing those Olaf things, clearing fast, efficiently, and getting a little bit of an item and experience lead in the jungles. Now he's hovering to the top side. Pagoda doesn't have any flash, so they can block the hook shot. As they're not able to, as Pagoda just is able to scamper away on that one, and great play coming out of the side of Illinois University's top lane. However, 0-0 has to watch out as he's far into that lane. Tybro, however, is walking around, but trying to get just enough as 0-0 is kiting all the way into that. Tybro just has to leave him. The Ignite comes down. Philip kind of steals the kill there as Obi Toppin still hanging around that top lane matchup. Knows he doesn't have the flash, but he does have the Hex Tech. Ultimatum is stunned up as he gets the shield. Ultimatum goes down, but Obi Toppin is able to secure that kill as Fate's Call gets onto the edge of that enclosure and is just able to avoid the tower aggro. So kills being traded across both sides of the map. Aquinas towards the top side, and Illinois, Chicago towards the bot side, as Tybro is trying to pull this wave out and make sure that enough experience here is left for 0-0, and great job by that support. That's really what you want to see. Who cares about those flashy plays? Who cares about what's really going on in lane? You just want those minions, and Tybro knows what's up as he stuns onto Ratchet 0-0, but Turtle has canceled his back, so they try and go all in. Tybro getting stacks of that second skin isn't being popped by Turtle, though, so that big damage boost not quite coming through. Now we do have Raizo here and Filipino on the J4 roaming in here. It's the flash in, the ultimate coming down. Tybro just flashing it to get a stun onto Turtle. Teleport as well as the cleanse comes out. Filipino trying to go all in. But guess what? Fate's Call is here, is in the mix. Wasn't able to use his ultimate, instead teleported back through as 0-0 is just getting lined up, but doesn't find the deadly flourish as the ultimate comes down. But Stevenator has joined the fray as well. Justice Punch comes out, but no one has flashes on these sides as Ratchet's just trying to trade a kill back onto 0-0. Stevenator not being able to pick up anything on the other side except burning that J4 flash. So they will have a slight advantage here when the mid game comes around and as Mountain Drake spawns in 2 minutes, unless they want to make a play for the Rift Herald as they are stronger on the other side of the map. Now you do have to be cautious though. Pagoda has picking up some plates on this Camille, so while Shen does pick up, a little bit of slack for the rest of the team, as that was pretty much a 4v4 there into the bot lane, he has to be very aware that Camille has been trading gold across the map. So a 1-2-0 Camille doesn't seem dangerous right now, but the scaling she has on this pick and the more gold she gets can lead to disaster for Aquinas College if she's not kept in check. Everyone's just roaming around trying to get a little bit of vision here. We'll see what the next play is, as Rift Herald has spawned, but both junglers pathing their way again down to the bot side of the map, looking for more action. So keep your eyes on this Rel and on this Leona, because they have been the ones initiating all of these fights here in this game, while everyone else is just trying to dash around and do what they can to survive this hook shot onto Fate's Call. Not much doing on now that he has a little bit more health, has those plated steel caps. Ultimatum go down though, as Filipino here has rotated up to the top side, flashes out of this, the flag and drag, but the Cataclysm comes down, and that is another kill picked up for Filipino on this J4. And already you can see some of the early dueling power from this Jarvan coming through. He is going for this Gore Drinker too as well, so boosting his damage in. He knows that his team doesn't have that much burst damage all the way coming through. You have a big combo, and you want to kill somebody with that combo right away. It's not something you can really mess up on, because you just press R, guys. You just point and click different enemy champions, where that's J4, you press R on champion, hit that Cataclysm, you press R on this Camille, hit that X-Tech ultimatum, and then you press R on this Galio, one of your teammates, and you come slamming down. So not that much room for error, just that target selection. So if he's able to survive a little bit longer, does a little bit more damage, as Obi Toppin here is onto Ratchet, but Ratchet might bite off way more than he can chew, as this Olaf just pops the Ragnarok. 0 claims that kill, and that should be a free Drake, as Filipino is on the top side of the map, does have that Rift here, and they're going to be trying to break open this plate, as Pigdota is getting very, very low. Taunt just not quite enough, hook shots out, and that's going to be first tower of the game going down to this Camille. As Filipino is trying to jump onto Fate's Call here. I'm not sure that's a fight he wants to take, as the tower does go down, and that's going to be a huge influx of gold for the top side of the map for Illinois Chicago. They are going to keep going here, though, as Filipino just not able to find Fate's Call with that knockup. Has to taunt away here as another charge comes through. That's not too bad. I don't think that Camille can really punish this Shen that heavily, as they've rotated, another member over here for Rizzo. Steven is trying to come in. Fate's Call barely scraping away, but Pigdota does flash in very, very low. But Stevenator on the back end searching for some of these members of the rest of Aquinas has reset, and you have the Olaf and the Jin coming through. They all have some types of mobility. Pigdota getting pushed back with an excellent scatter of the week onto 3 people. 0 picking up another kill. Stevenator claiming the second. And Aquinas College answers that roam with one of their own. However, they are losing some pressure onto the bot side of the map, as Illinois Chicago is just going to be letting the minions die onto the bot lane here. Excellent use of turret pressure, making sure that Aquinas is going to be losing out some of that experience while maximizing some of that plate pressure. So great job by both sides. You see a slight gold advantage for Aquinas here in this game so far, just picking up a few extra skirmishes, but nothing to write home about yet. As equal Drakes on both sides. It is Infernal, so huge bursts of damage coming out if somebody can reach that break point. But we are just about 15 minutes or so away from that, if someone can take control of all these next 3 Drakes. So it is really neck and neck here in this game, as a little bit of a lull here for the next few minutes as we wait for objectives to spawn. Both of these teams heavily reliant on ultimates, especially Illinois Chicago, right? You have, like I said, the big wombo combo coming out from multiple members, and some decent wave clear out of these junglers. So really up to a few different people if they're going to be pulling that trigger early, as Aquinas has already decided to make this bot river their own, as multiple people are converging onto this location for the Scuttle Crab, thinking they can take a little bit of a scuffle. Fate's Call here, a little bit too far out, is being caught up. This Cataclysm goes down, but Obi Toppin flashes in, but Turtle ults away here, as it looks like Stevenator is actually the main target. Multiple ults coming through. Tybro stuns up, and 0 picking up another kill. Ultimate coming down from the Shen is coming back into the fight. Ratchet here in the middle of 2 people, but Hookshot over the wall is able to take care of this Shen in this match. 0 flashing forward, double kill for the Turtle before he goes down, and that's double for 0 as well, as he's trying to get out. Hookshot lands, trying to kite around, but he holds off onto that last blade as the shutdown comes over to this Camille, the last one standing on the Rift. And the fight heavily favored in the way of Illinois Chicago, as they're picking up quite a few shutdowns, and this Camille pulls further and further ahead. Not too bad for, I would say, Aquinas' side or Illinois Chicago. Not really sure who the big winner is. I did say big winners for Illinois Chicago, but that's just purely out of the damage aspects and the fact they have so much lockdown. So even though this Jin is getting very, very far ahead, you still have multiple ways to lock him down on Illinois Chicago, right? You have the Hextech Ultimatum, and you have this Rel flashing in for big plays, and just the Galio or J4 as well. So you have to be very careful with 0 here. and the back line. And if he's your main damage dealer, then he kind of needs to get more into the fray and is not able to sit back and just fire out these ultimates onto these big beefy boys like we were talking about in the pre-game lobby. Next dragon spawning in a minute. See who decides to go here. As you can see, Pagadoga feeling very confident now in this matchup. He's trying to go all in on Fate's Call, who doesn't have an item, but the Divine Thunder is completed for Pagadoga as he locks him down. Tactical Sleep, not even a fall. Fate's Call has to flash away, but he gets the movement speed off of his Qs and is trying to go all in. And in the end, about an even health trade, but Fate's Call getting zoned off of this wave, just losing so much experience and so much gold, and isn't able to find any type of items. The Hex Flash comes through. Ratchet trying to go all into 00. Ultimate comes down. 00 is locked in and stunned, but Turtle just doesn't have the damage quite yet as they turn it on. The Zenith Blade, Solar Flare coming down. Ultimate coming up from Jim, but he quickly canceled, realized he has to get into this fight. As a shutdown coming in for Fate's Call, getting back some of that gold as Filipino here is still waiting in the wings as Obi Toppin slays Raizo as the rest of the team marches back onto the bot side of the map quickly, turning this one around. And as long as Pagoda isn't here on this Camille and all that gold and all that damage isn't there, Aquinas easily wrapping up the fight. Infernal Drake being excited, but it looks like they actually do want to go in. Pagoda doesn't have an ult, and Obi Toppin does. Hookshot does go in, but he has flash. He's trying to get out, but a good scatter of the week is able to lock him down. Long as Obi Toppin takes him out. Stevenator being traded from Filipino here as now a multiple 3v3 breaking out, but Obi Toppin healing. The TP comes in. Raizo flying in at the speed of light. Justice Punch canceled by Obi Toppin here. 00 is able to survive, and a triple kill coming out for Obi Toppin here in this fight, and hopefully they're able to pick up the Drake as Turtle has now respawned. You have Filipino here on the side, still hovering around, trying to see if he could steal this Drake, but Obi Toppin will see if he wants to, finish this one out, as Filipino is still going for this steal. As the W does miss, doesn't have any vision on it, finally is able to get a little bit of viewership onto this Drake with that flag, but they're just going to be walking away, and huge plays coming out of Aquinas College here in this mid-game. And that's really what you want to see from a composition like that, right? You have this Olaf who's steadily been, building some farm advantage, is sitting a level up. And without those ultimates on the side of Illinois Chicago, they don't quite have the tools to finish off some of these fights. And you saw that Pagoda, without that Hextech ultimatum, isn't able to lock down the people that he would like to, and doesn't quite have the damage or the tenacity to survive the Stevenator's scatter the weeks there, and Obi Toppin was able to finish him off. So Illinois Chicago needs to be very aware of their composition strengths and how they play around these fights. So while Aquinas College does finish off that Drake into the bot side, and an excellent skirmish there for them, University of Illinois Chicago has picked up the second Rift Herald as well, so trying to go good use as Stevenator is actually just full on 1v2 here on Turtle. Just he's able to catch him out and scatter the weak into that ultimate, and just a nice force of will just blows Turtle up, just 4-4-3 as 00 fancying himself a 1v1 onto Raizo as well. Just one more shot will do it, and 00 takes down Raizo here in the mid lane. And that's not a matchup you want to see, right? Raizo just has match resistance with the Galio. That's all he blocks, but a fed AD carry with the Collector and Gale Force with a nice little Cloud Burst to dash in and provide so much damage, allows Aquinas College to burst down this mid-tier turret before Illinois Chicago can do anything. 00 here on this Jhin, putting in work as now Tybro stuns up Filipino. Solar Flare comes down, but an excellent flag and drag just makes him pretty much immune to any form of crowd control and pulls him out of that as they are able to take away this blue buff here. Obi Toppin throwing the axe for a little bit more. Tybro holding the line here against Ratchet here in this game. Both of these engagers about 4 to 5 deaths apiece, but good assists on either side. That's kind of what they have to do. You go all in on these champions. There's no getting out, as that hook shot isn't able to tag anyone with the combined power of the tactical sweep, as now they're just pulling a whole ARAM here. Want to take down this tower, but they don't quite have the damage, so they're just going to be throwing down that Rift Herald for pressure. The earlier you're able to take down a mid-tier turret, the more you open up the map. As Obi Toppin is getting ulted by the Shin, he decides to go in. He's a little bit of a mix here as the full ultimates come down, Cataclysm, but the ultimate from Galio is canceled. Obi Toppin falling very, very low as the Ratchet's ultimate does come out. First kill goes over to Filipino onto Shen, but Jin is able to trade it across onto the Rel as the flash comes in from Tybro. Scatter the Weak finds Pagoda. Turtle trades Tybro for Pagoda here. Flag and Dread is able to get out, but double kill coming in for the Jin. And again, now 9, 2, and 8 on this Jin. 0 is now the backbone and the main carry of this composition. Not something I was totally expecting, but you were able to see just the power of some of these champions coming through. And Pagoda, while he was in the lead here in these side lanes, hasn't been able to do very much in these team fights. As soon as he gets locked down and stunned up by, a good, Shield of Daybreak from Tybro, Solar Flares coming in, or a great Scatter the Weak from Stevenator, you can see he just pops. And there's nothing he can really do about it unless his team is able to fall out. But if Stevenator is still able to unleash his full power and find multiple members with a great Scatter the Weak, you're just taunting, you're just stunning up, 3 to 4 members in some of these fights because they all have to clump up. And it's just so difficult at that point for them to turn it around because they're so front-loaded in the damage for, Illinois, Chicago, that it's very, very difficult to skirmish out of these fights. Now we do have the next Infernal Drake coming up here in 40 seconds. As middle layers have gone to the top side of the map, they have Teleport or Ghost respectively, but it's a spell book Galio. He can get around the map pretty effectively. His ultimate will be up for all this, as well as everyone's ultimate is going to be up for the next dragon fight. And this fight right here really could seal the fate of the game because we're at this point where, 0 here is sitting at 3 items. Has the Collector, has the Gale Force, and the Infinity Edge. If they're able to find a good fight, pick off most of the members from Illinois, Chicago, they have the damage to do Baron. So we have a teleport coming in from Pagoda onto this bot lane here as both teams are scattering around the map. The Shen isn't curious. The Cataclysm comes down onto 3 members. Excellent Galio knocks up everyone on the team. Stevenator has to play. Ultimatum coming out into 0. They found their mark. Rel gets the shutdown onto the Jin. Traded back and forth. Fate's Call is taken out. Ratchet. Tybro taken down. Rizzo here, but Obi Toppin still trying to run away here. They finally get him down, but he goes down. Fate's Call, the only one left for Aquinas College, as it's a 1v1 in the end for both top laners. Fate's Call getting Pagoda down very, very low. Tactical Sleep as Pagoda is able to turn that around with some precision protocols there. And again, Pagoda here on this Camille, the only one left on the Rift. And that was an excellent engage coming out of Filipino, Asian Boy, combined with Rizzo on that Galio, overlapping both of their ultimates into that fight and doing so much CC while Turtle is able to follow up with the damage. Whew, super close there, but you can see the game plan coming out of Illinois Chicago's. They've actually canceled the Drake, and that Drake is still up. Pagoda was too low to be able to take that one down, doesn't have the lifesteal or the sustain. And that's kind of what happens when you really only have about 150 health. Just a few too many shots, and that Drake's going to take you down as both teams are resetting for this Drake. You do have multiple ultimates coming back in, but a few key summoner spells. Loss for both sides, but as I was saying, if you're able to find your mark onto 0, he is the Fed member of the team. As Tybro's decided to go into Filipino Asian Boy. Current call is open up. Filipino already taken down to about half health. Scatter the Weak finds 2 members. Solar Flare isn't able to find any as Obi Toppin's in a 1v1 with Pagoda as the back line is going in by Ratchet, trying to buy enough time, but he goes down to the Olaf here as Turtle is stunned up. Double here into this as another kill comes through from Stevenator. 2 for the side of Stevenator on this Syndra as Fate's Call finds a 3rd, and that is going to be a quick pickup for the side of Aquinas College. And again, if you cannot layer your ultimates in your CC for Illinois, Chicago, you are not winning these fights. And 0 on that back line, just pumping out that damage with Stevenator. But you can see all the team kill participation from the side of Aquinas College and Illinois, Chicago. This is just a bloodbath. 29 to 22. about 2 kills per minute here in this game. Both sides just going back and forth over and over. Just an insane match 1 in this series, as the mid tower does get taken out by 00 on this push. Stevenator gonna pick up a blue buff for all his troubles, as Fate's Call just stepping up a little bit. Here does pop that Twilight Sword. You can now see that he actually has an EXP advantage off of some of these fights, and sticking into these side lanes is able to use his ultimate quite effectively on this Shen, buying just enough time for some of these members. As you like to see a few more things, as the Deadly Flourish doesn't quite land onto that blue buff, and Turtle is able to secure that one as well. So, you know, big trades going back and forth. Blue buff on one side, blue buff on the other. We do see both teams hovering around on this Baron. That is the next objective, as Deadly Force isn't able to land, as Ratchet is able just to, you know, dash away here on this Rill. Excellent, as Pagoda's actually, you know, at a third of a health here. Hook shot, not able to land, has to flash away, as he wasn't able to get over the wall. And we've seen those a few too many times here in multiple different games. If you've been watching the LEC or the LCS, a few people missing some hook shots and having to flash away, burn the summoner cell that you'd rather not lose on an engaged champ like this, as Filipino's just going to flag and drag away, throwing down that Demacian standard and the lance just to get out of any trouble that Aquinas wanted to throw at him. So here we are at Soul Point for Aquinas College. Next Drake spawning in a little under 3 minutes here. Now quite ahead of the clock, I would say. Only about 3k up, but their composition is somehow able to survive everything that's being thrown at them. And 00, as long as he is able to stick into the backline, and Illinois Chicago isn't able to jump on him directly, they're able to pump out all the damage he needs with the excellent kiting on this Jhin. He does get that movement speed for his critical strikes, and now he's sitting at 60% critical strike chance with, you know, that Cloud Burst active on the Gale Force, able to provide a little bit more ability with these Swifty boots. And so if he's able to just stay at, you know, neck and neck with the other team, just slightly out of range on that gym, pumping out damage, because the rest of the team doesn't really have that many tanky targets if they're not being locked down. You do have the Locket here for Rel, so it was not the Dead Man's Rush that we typically see. Right now, as you can see, Tybro has rushed the Dead Man's as well, just getting more mobility here. You do have final that second item completed for Turtle, had in the last fight, but he's sitting a full item behind of 00 here in this game. And you can see, if Kai'Sa's behind in these fights, even though she has so many different forms of crowd control on the rest of the team, as Filipino has actually thrown out his Demacian standard, so he doesn't have a way out of this if he doesn't have flash. Actually chooses to Cataclysm back in, but it's just taken out immediately by Aquinas because the rest of his team was nowhere to be found, just weren't set up for that engage. He was expecting maybe Raizo there on the Galio to ult in, but Aquinas immediately sets their eyes onto the Baron. Tybro here waiting on the wings, trying to see where the rest of the team is. Baron not being finished out quite quickly, right? You do have more burst damage, not as much consistency as Pagoda is just face-checking Tybro here. Doesn't stun him quite yet, is stunned up now. Let's pop out this here, but Tybro going very low. Hextech Ultimatum actually going onto Tybro, buying enough space, but 00 just gets a little too close, has to flash away. Hook shot onto 00 going very, very, very low, but the Baron here is only a little bit under 2,000 health. Ratchet's trying to get in here. Smite finally goes down for Obi Top, and Stevenator flashes over the wall. Killer Instinct used onto Stevenator's popped the bombshell here as Obi Toppin gets a double kill, but a trade is over for Turtle here as Obi Toppin's chasing down Raizo. 2 members left. Fate's Call getting very, very low, but triple kill coming out for Olaf, and he is unstoppable now. 10, 3, and 13, and who cares if your gen gets locked down at this point, because you have an Olaf at 3 full items, that Thorn Mail complete, that Sterix Gauge, and now picking up components of a 4th item here as the Drake is quickly spawning. Aquinas College maybe not en route in time, as they did take that Baron buff, as the TP actually coming out here from this Shen, providing enough space and time for Aquinas to get an edge into this fight here, as the taunt comes out onto Filipino, but they don't quite have the numbers yet. They don't have the follow-up, just trying to get something as the teleport comes in for Pagoda. And this is going to be another skirmish as well, as their eyes are set onto Fate's Call and maybe just this dragon. Obi Toppin's hanging on the backside. He does have Ragnar. He needs to get into this fight. This Drake could be the end of the game as Filipino goes all the way in. Cataclysm onto multiple members. Realm Ultimate comes through, but the GA is being popped. Turtle taken down on the other side by Fate's Call, and Obi Toppin, who's incredibly low. Double kill for Fate's Call here. Has he bought enough time for the rest of the team? As a double taunt landed for Fate's Call. Obi Toppin so incredibly low, trying to do what he can. Healing up so very, he's at the edge of death, but he will not die. Double kill for Obi Toppin on this Olaf, and their eyes are on the Nexus. They are running down to the mid lane. They think they have the damage to end this game. Their eyes are on this inhibitor to see if they can take it down, but huge win for Aquinas College in that last fight. They don't end up taking this Drake, so we'll see if this gamble does pull off. Turtle is up here very, very soon. They do have another wave incoming. Aquinas wants to bring this match to the end. They have had enough of this bloodshed, as Obi Toppin calls it quits here. They don't have another damage dealer. They would have needed Stevenator or 00 to really put the hurt onto these last towers, as they finally do open up onto that inhibitor and are now making their way to the Drake. But surely the nails in the coffin have been nailed for Illinois Chicago, and Aquinas College here has their eyes on the win. Infernal Drake finally being taken down, and that is now Infernal Soul for the Aquinas Saints, which allows a huge burst of damage here on your attack every few seconds and increases your total attack damage and ability power in this game. So that is huge on the side for a Jhin, on a Syndra, and onto an Olaf, who has built 2 defensive items but now has an incredible amount of damage, incredible amount of base damage as is, and just adding 3 Infernal Drakes on top of that makes him unstoppable. You could see as he gets lower on health, he gains attack speed. Oh, but the Scatter the Weak finds its Martin Pagoda, who actually flashes in onto Stevenator, trying to trade the kill, but a Shen ultimate, and multiple members of the team for Aquinas College just responding in time, and Pagoda just going down yet again. While he has 11 kills, he has 9 deaths. Hasn't been as effective on this Camille on this side lane as he's trying to trade back and forth, and Fate's Call just says he doesn't need a minion wave. He's tanky enough, and that very well might be true. 3.5 items completed on this Shen, running steady amounts of CC and damage coming out of that locket, as Aquinas College is burning through the top side of the map, taking down 2 turrets, eyes on this inhibitor, and now focused onto the Nexus as they're making their way onto Ryzo, who's been a little bit too far forward. They don't quite have the minion wave to finish that one off, but they're going to go for it anyway. The Nexus turret has taken down to half health on the top side of the map, but they will have to wait for the next wave here, and maybe they'll just go for the third onto the bot wave. Here we do have Baron here in a minute and 30 seconds, or minute 45, so they're not really looking, as Stevenator's edging onto this Filipino here, trying to find out where he's at. Obi Toppin, no fear, the Solar Flare lands onto the J4, has to go out, but the Galileo is going back in. Pagoda's here, Stevenator has to flash away. Ultimatum coming onto Stevenator, takes him down, but Fate's Call trades back onto Ratchet as Jhin picks up the kill onto J4. Turtle so incredibly roll. Fate's Call tries to taunt after him. Rizzo here is the next target, though, as the Zenith Blade is able to land. Taunt coming through. Turtle getting a lot of damage down, but yep, finally does take down Tybro as 00 takes down Ryzo. And so last nurse game, Pagoda here, still onto the sides on this Camille, has the GA as the 4th shot onto Turtle, almost takes him down. 00 flashing forward for the kill of the game as Turtle is down, and now a 3v1, and Pagoda is doing what he can in this match to keep the game alive, but his GA is taken out as ultimate coming out of Shen just to give him a shield here, flashing around, hook shot onto the Nexus Tower, isn't able to round as 00 finishes the game 14-5 and 21, and Aquinas College takes match 1 of this best of 3. Excellent game from both sides. It was neck and neck all the way up until about 25 minutes there, and Aquinas is able to take some of these leads, and Illinois Chicago just barely getting outdone in some of these team fights. And again, it just came down to some of their compositional strengths. If they were not able to find 00 into that backline and have Turtle safely onto the edge of these fights, Obi Toppin was in the backline just killing Turtle with Fate's Call. Well, 00 was just tanking up all of the damage and engage, and as soon as that was gone, Obitapa just would not go down on this Olaf, and you can see why it's such a huge power pick and why they would prioritize these champions. So we will take a short break here as our teams get set up and we get into the draft. We will be back soon for match 2 of Aquinas Esports versus University of Illinois Chicago. Hello and welcome back to match 2 of Aquinas Esports versus Illinois Chicago here in the best of 3 series. Aquinas was able to take down University of Illinois Chicago in match 1 through a close game. However, they were able to pull ahead into the mid game. There was some excellent carry potential from 00 and Obitapa. All the other members did fantastically as well. You could see just the kill participation was so high across the board. And already in this first draft, we have a few changes and going back and forth. However, Illinois does stick with that Kaisa first pick. They are onto the blue side this time. They have elected to take that first pick, and which will give Aquinas the last pick of the match and hopefully a counter pick, as it looks like they're able to pick up the Jhin as well. as you can see, Seraphine, Twisted Fate already banned here on the side of Illinois Chicago. Shen banned on that third for the draft. The first part of the draft, excuse me. As they've decided that was kind of an issue, right? That Shen was able to match that Camille into the side lane, even though that Camille had such a huge lead. When Fate's Call was able to just farm up and provide so much presence in these team fights, getting multiple members on Illinois Chicago taunted up and just taken down on that Shen, they've decided that was a huge problem. And Aquinas College on the other side takes out the Camille, saying, you know, if you've banned the Shen, we don't want to deal with that Camille. There's not really another pick besides maybe, you know, a Malphite or something that can really match that into that side lane, provide so much team fight presence. And so they take that off the board. Olaf banned on the side of Aquinas as well, decided they don't want to give that over as a first pick. You could see the success that Obi Toppin had in that first game on that Olaf, so respectable ban coming through. Leona picked up again. Rel, you know, matched up as well. And Hecarim now for the jungle for Filipino here instead of that J4. And Udyr picked up for Obi Toppin. And this is a pick you might not totally be familiar with. You probably are now, to be honest. It's been seeing play all across the world in the LCK, LPL, LEC, and of course the LCS, and a few of the other minor regions now. But it's a little bit of an odd one. He does power farm as well as most of the other champions in the meta right now, but the ability just to walk up and stun somebody, you don't have to aim, there's no skill shots there. You just literally just press E, get into your bear stance and run at someone and whack them with your bear paws, and they are stunned up for, you know, a second and a half. So Udyr, very stable champion. Like I said, not a lot of counterplay. He'll probably just end up, you know, like a phase rush or maybe aftershock. We do see a few conquers every once in a while, but right now we are seeing a phase rush Udyr build. You just get so much movement speed. You pick up that turbo chem take, which gives you more engage potential, and then you're just off to the races, right? You get that dead man, you get that force of nature, you're just running all around the enemy team, providing such a nuisance. This isn't probably going to be the 80 Udyr that we see sometimes, you know, Trick 2D pulling out or some of that solo queue, you know, they'll go like Stridebreaker or Trinity Force and just run down your side lanes over and over, bursting out inhibitors, opening those gates. Instead, he is more of a team fight presence here, is able to set up the rest of his team for those engages. As Aatrox picked up for Aquinas College, they did ban away Galio and Renekton, and respectively Malphite and Syndra taken off the board. So, you know, another two picks from either side getting off the table. Orianna picked up for Illinois Chicago, as well as Fiora into this side lane. They choose to give the mid laner counterpick for Stevenator, and so does Orianna, but the Zoe being picked up, very powerful mid laner here, is able to provide so much catch potential. And really, what's the counterplay to, you know, someone who's just stunned up by bear stance Udyr, and you just get Sleepy Trouble Bottle put to sleep and popped with a Paddle Star? Not much you can do against that, besides having a cleanser trying to flash away. But if that Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands, the last effect can be seen through the Fog of War by the Zoe, and so lining up that Paddle Star is just so easy for that champion. However, Orianna is not a champion to scoff at, right? Especially when you have some of these other mid-range champions or close-range champions like Aatrox, like Udyr, Zoe, and Jhin and Leona respectively. You have to eventually funnel into a certain area. So as long as Raizo is playing on his game, if he's able to land multiple man shockwaves in these team fights, he can completely turn this game around. So completely different top side of the matchup here in match 2. But again, the same bot side of the map. We'll see how this turns out. 00 was able to pick up quite a few kills there in early skirmishes there into the bot lane in the 2v2 and 3v3s. But in the end, it came down to the team fight presence of both squads. Excited to have this one kick off. Again, we will be seeing a lot more power farming into the jungle. Maybe the Hecarim decides to get a little frisky and decides to run down a few different members. You are slightly vulnerable in some of these matchups. Aatrox versus Fiora can be very dangerous for either side. Fiora as known as one of these LPL counterpicks into the Aatrox, but we haven't seen that much of her in the recent games just due to the sheer power of the Gore Drinker Aatrox build, where you just gain so much lifesteal and survivability. So even if Fiora is able to proc some of these vitals, Aatrox is able to outsustain some of that damage into the game and provides a much bigger team fight presence into some of these fights with the different knockups. So excited to have this one kick off into match two. We will take a short spectator break. We do have, a minute 30 here as we wait for teams to load in. Just some competitive integrity here in these matches. So we will see you soon when we load into the Rift and kick this one off. Hello and welcome back to Summoner's Rift for match 2 of Aquinas Esports versus Illinois Chicago. Now, Illinois Chicago has elected to the blue side in this game. We have already gone over some of these drafts. And as we can see some of these rune choices, we have Grasp of the Undying for this Fiora in the top lane, as multiple analysts here and from I've heard in different commentary has been mostly the strongest rune choice in lane for your champions like Fiora, which have short trading patterns, right? You want to get some of those grass stacks up, and then you want to trade in onto your laner effectively, hopefully proccing a vital for this Fiora, and then going back through. She won't need a lot of the conquer damage or press the attack damage when she gets later into the game, when she picks up some items. So Grasp of the Undying, just a great room here early for her to bridge some of the gap of power. Now Conqueror coming out for the Hecarim, as well as Ghost as the summoner spell. So he's looking to get in these fights and just hammer home some of the different types of damage with that Shadow Assault, diving all the way into these fine teams as Pagoda again starting some of this sweeper, but a little odd choice to me. Typically we see multiple laners taking that vision totem, that trinket, just to provide more information here early, but Pagoda really seems to have an emphasis on that level 2, as Double Zero providing a little bit of a trade. Maybe Tybro and him weren't quite on the same page, didn't want to fully engage onto that rel, but already getting that first tick of damage in this matchup, playing very, very aggressively. 4-shot onto Turtle, but a Cathian Rain comes down onto Double Zero just completely, and eliminates a little bit of that health bar. Now we do have Stevenator with that summoner spell, but Pagoda hitting that level 2 and trading already, and I think that's a little bit of an adjustment that maybe Face Call needs to make. Recognize that Pagoda did have sweeper. He was on that ward, and you can see that he was able to get that bonus experience. It is a little bit more of a trick. You typically see your junglers do it, and then give that experience over to your mid laner for some more pressure, but their top laner in a winning matchup is very good to do it. So summoner spellbook picked up for Stevenator, as I was saying, allows him to play a little bit more aggressively in these lanes. His teleport's going to be on a shorter cooldown. He can get easier resets and provide more pressure here. Maybe pick up an Ignite, an Exhaust, a Cleanse, who knows, onto this Zoe, which can be incredibly difficult to deal with some of her different W's and passive, the way her kit works. Just a very extremely annoying champion. If you don't know what's going on, and if you ever get a Zoe ahead, that is pretty much game over. So both junglers doing opposite clears here. However, Filipino has decided to skip his Krugs on that first clear. Excuse me. And once it gets to that Scuttle Crab, in case Obi Toppin was there first, the Sleepy Trouble Purple Land, Stevenator just trading back onto Raizo on this Orianna, just very, very evenly in this matchup, both taking Corrupting Potion and Biscuits. Looking to stay in lane as Obi Toppin here is running onto Raizo with that Bear Stance to level 4. But look at this, Filipino is behind as Stevenator tries to flash away. Obi Toppin getting dangerously low here. Sleepy Trouble lands, and Raizo not committing to flash, try and finish that one off. But Obi Toppin almost biting more than he can chew in this matchup as they try to get a gank on the Filipino Asian boy, as Pagoda being locked up by those infernal chains, but excellent riposte is able to just block out most of that damage. Takes the tower shot though, and immediately makes me eat my words as that trade ends up being super effective for Fate's Call. Doing fairly well in this matchup so far. Pagoda again cheesing that level 2 for the second time in the row, is able to get him a bit of a health advantage, but Fate's Call is making use of some of that passive there and some of the Umbral Das's healing increases. Now he did have a few changes here where his E actually increases his healing on his ultimate, but the rest of it not so much. So Aatrox, while he is a safe pick, he is slightly vulnerable here in the early game, and that's what Fiora is trying to bridge the gap on. And we'll see what he can do as, are you kidding me? 2 of them picked up for Zoe here. Got that Lucket, and then he got that Shirelius, and is able to just bully out Ryze, and was able to tank so much damage for free on this Zoe pick, and that is why it's just not a fair champion, as he was able to, reset in that lane, picked up the Dark Seal and a Sapphire Crystal early for some more mana and regeneration. Filipino Asian boy is hovering around that mid lane, maybe trying to get a trade onto Steven, who doesn't have a flash here, right? So doing what he can to poke, but, Filipino doesn't have his Ghost, and is just trying to maybe push out that wave, try to get a reset for Raizo here, help him get in that, and Stevenator Putting on some poke, making sure they aren't able to get an easy reset. As Fate's Call, about half health here, and Pagoda, if he hits level 6, he might want to try for the dive. As Steven is pushing that wave, and Raizo's just getting interrupted here, and that could be dangerous for him as good Paddle Star finds him on the back end, and he is going to be crying to his mama here on this Orianna. Doesn't have teleport to reach that wave, so he's going to be losing quite a bit of experience. And Obi Tumpin on the Udyr is making good work of that mid lane pressure on this Zoe, and is picking up the first Drake of the game. And there's really nothing that Illinois Chicago can really trade with, right? You're getting pushed into the bot side of the map, your bot lane had to reset, your mid lane had to reset, and so that's just a free Drake. Not much you can do. You really just want to farm up as Pagoda actually lands the stun into Fate's Call. That's a little iffy, but who knows about that, as he's hit 6 here, and Fate's Call has to be very, very careful if he wants to survive this turret, as Filipino here is hovering on the top side of the map, and they might go for a dive. This is a huge wave. However, Fate's Call does have the ultimate here. He's going to be picking up some of this wave. And he decides to go in, trying to get those trades. Isn't taking a tower shot quite yet. Fate's Call trying to clear up this wave before Filipino can get here, but he is level 6. Ultimates come down, flashes away from the ultimate. Filipino trying to push him out, but Fate's Call does a great job of just avoiding that gank, but he is fairly low. He has to be careful, but he's actually chunking out Filipino. Udyr here is on the way, though. He doesn't have Ghost quite yet, so Fate's Call can try it, but Pagoda is here, but he has no health. If he gets tagged, he can just go down too, and this just might be a kill for Fate's Call here on this Aatrox as the stun does land. Obi Toppin flashes to follow, stuns him up, and that's not quite first blood. And Stevenator goes through the river on vision, and first blood picked up for Zoe off of a long chase of Illinois Chicago. Great job by Fate's Call in that top lane, just extending that dive sequence and staying so safe on that Aatrox. And just the power of that pick being shown off as that Everfrost does land a Stevenator. Shockwave does come through. Stevenator trying to trade back, ignites onto Raizo. Fairly effective trade, but he doesn't have flash and needs to be careful because Raizo does. And a good Q and dissonance is able to take out Stevenator, so needs to be a little careful. He is charging up a Paddle Star. Obi Toppin with that pressure, taking over the blue buff as Ratchet and Turtle come over, sweeping for a kill onto Stevenator on that Zoa because he only had about 150 health. Isn't able to find it, but they do pick up a plate for those troubles. Tybro sitting in the brush. Again, looking for a little bit of action here as the Rift Herald has spawned onto the top side of the map. And a few different components completed for each side. We do have the Swifties completed for Jhin. We have seen this as more of a common start. You pick up your boots and then a ton of potions early you are able to then sustain quite a bit of these lanes just through raw health mitigation, right? You're able to trade effectively. You already have a ton of damage in your kit. There's not too much you need to do besides managing your health resource, especially since his force shot does so much damage. So being able to stay in a wave provides them with so many more opportunities. Steel-plated caps, or plated steel caps for Udyr here in this game. Rushed right away with the Balmy Cinder. Again, very common. You're seeing a lot of junglers rush boots. Sometimes it's Ionian boots. As Fate's Call pops the ultimate, thinking Pagoda was going to go all in, which he decides to do as the Grand Challenge does come out. Both sides just trading ultimates here. Don't think there's as much of a kill threat unless Filipino is here onto the top side, which he is running in as they are stacking this wave again. And Fate's Call needs to be very, very careful. He doesn't have flash and he doesn't have his ultimate this time around, but Filipino and Asian Boy does have his ultimate again. And the Ghost, as he decides to go all in, is taking up the turret. He doesn't get the stunned up by Fate's Call here. Filipino trying to trade, but Fate's Call is still alive though. Is able to trade back a little bit of damage. Sleepy Troubleville misses into the mid lane. Shockwave does land though, and Ratchet is here trying to get the stun up. Stevenator flashing all around, getting what damage he can, and is able to survive that 1v2 in the mid lane. But Fate Call is not able to on the opposite side, as again, Illinois Chicago attacking the top side of the map aren't able to get that first turret gold. But they do get 4 plates, so that's going to be feeling good for Pagoda and Filipino here in the jungle, as Udyr is making use of some of that pressure, just running around, being a nuisance, trying to steal what camps he has a huge CS lead up on here. Sleepy Trouble doesn't land, but Obi Toppin decides to go in the cleanse burned on Raizo, so he will be vulnerable into these next ganks. Does have the flash, but that is something you have to be careful of. As again, Obi Toppin in the enemy jungle, stealing away camps. Now 40 CS, which is huge, above a Filipino Asian boy. So trading up some of that top pressure for more selfish advantages. As this next Drake spawns in 20 seconds, we will see teams reset. Fate's Call did burn the teleport, so Illinois Chicago does have that advantage over Aquinas Esports, is that they do have that teleport in the top lane. So if Pagoda is able to find a nice TP into the backline, he could do that, which I wouldn't really advise that, right? Fiora is very, very, very strong in that side lane, as Raizo has to flash away, but he's still stunned up. Deadly Flourish lands, and that should be a dead mid laner, though. He's going down. Double Zero flashes through Curtain's Call, but he's actually not taking the tower, as he finally does land that next shot. Filipino here is coming into the backline as Pagoda comes in. Double stun up, Double Zero going down to Pagoda, and everyone's just caught into this blender. They're able to trade onto Filipino. Rel decides to go all in, but that is another kill picked up for Obi Toppin on this Udyr. Is able to stun back in. Turtle now has joined the fight, but eats a sleepy trouble double. Steven here trying to go in, is able to flash out. Killer Instinct used, but he's just stunned up again. Cleanse does able to take down Stevenator, traded back up, and now this Udyr 2-0-3 in this game, and is actually the only one not to go down so far. Don't make me eat my words, and that caster curse might come through. He is a frontliner, but Illinois Chicago should be able to pick up this next Drake, as everyone else had to reset. And Aquinas is just going to be giving this one up. Udyr is going to be prioritizing some of this farm here on the top lane, trying to maximize his use of this champion, knowing that he can't contest this specific objective. He's going to do what he can in his own jungle and just get a little more gold to speed up his clears, speed up his experience, and hopefully hit some of these item thresholds very, very soon. Now we do have Raizo into the top lane, and Obi Toppin is here as well, as they're trying to get a full collapse here. Does actually flash, lands the stun. Infernal Change doesn't quite finish it off, but Obi Toppin does with that Phoenix stance. And this Udyr running over the game right now. 3-6 in this matchup, but I was going to say, but the gold advantage is somewhat good on the side of Illinois Chicago. You do have Pagoda a little bit ahead of this Fate's Call, as another ultimate coming through from Filipino, and they are really making their mark onto Fate's Call in this Aatrox here, trying to just push out this matchup here, trying to get the counter pick working for this Fiora, but it's really Philip on this Hecarim doing most of the work in this matchup, and that's pretty hit or miss into this game, right? If this Fiora can't crush this matchup, she's not doing her job. And all this time that Philip is spending here in this, as Stevenator has rotated down to the bot lane, and Ratchet's just dead straight up. Turtle will be soon to follow as he's exhausted, and that's a kill going over to 0-0. Pagoda trying to do what he can, going for the last hits on the turret, but Fate's Call forces a flash as Tybro's taking out turret. They're trying to get this last one here. As Filipino's back in his near, but you have Udyr speeding through the enemy jungle, just taking away what he can, and Pagoda, again, like I was saying, even though Philip has spent so much time into the top lane, this Fiora is not coming through with the damage and not coming through into that side lane potential against this Aatrox as it stands at this moment. So very, very difficult for Chicago, Illinois, as both phase Russ procs. Obi Toppin just chasing down Raizo, has that level lead as he actually burns the cleanse. Now he's into 2 more members, but you should be able to stun them up as the ignite comes down, ultimate comes down as well. Obi Toppin trying to do what he can. Sleepy Trouble level lands as Fate's Call is getting 1v1 by Pagoda, and again makes me eat my words there, as they was able to land all of those vitals and bursts down Fate's Call before he can do anything. Stevenator just getting too close here. Actually is able to take down Philip as the flash forward coming in from Tybro stuns up Ratchet here. Actually tries to go back in. Oh, and that was close as a double kill being picked up for Stevenator on this Zoe. Now 4-1-4, matching score lines with his jungler, and we'll see who becomes the bigger carry in this game. A little bit of friendly competition here as the first turret does go down to Pagoda, and the top lane finally in this matchup. But now Fate's Call has the Gore Drinker, was just sitting on that Iron Spike whip before, but is able to have a little bit more sustain in this matchup. And while the gold lead is sitting in Aquinas' favor, it is really onto these well, 3 members here, and it's really just their top laner that is a little bit behind. All the members on Chicago, Illinois are not doing so hot compared to their counterparts, besides maybe Pagoda, but Fate's Call has just been absorbing so much pressure in the game, same as last game, and you can really see that that's their game plan. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to target Fate's Call in this top lane, and they wanted to put him behind, but hasn't been as effective in this match specifically. And even last game, Fate's Call did a good job of just absorbing that pressure, was able to provide such a team fight presence that was able to mitigate a lot of the losses he had in that first game. And now he's able to turn around some of these dives and get Obi Toppin ahead in this jungle. Again, sitting healthily at 40 CS lead as they're looking for more action. Turtle just been caught up by Obi Toppin, just about burst down. W flourish isn't needed, and Obi Toppin's just stunning up the entire team. And you can see the power of this Udyr just sitting 2 levels ahead of anyone on the enemy team except for Pagoda, who's a side lane laner, doesn't really count. But yeah, he's sitting nearly 50 CS ahead, now 30, almost 40, but has such a steady lead over Filipino here in this jungle. Now level 12 on this Udyr compared to level 10 on the Hecarim, and just able to run down the enemy team. Flash burn by Rosa. Sleepy Troll bubble actually does land as Tyro commits the solar flare, just tanking up the turret. Stevenator trying to get the kill, finally able to do it. Does have to ult away, but Stevenator's just under that turret there. The shutdown does go over to Filipino. He's able to pick up one. That's 700 gold easily as Filipino's going back onto Fate's Call, but that trade is not favorable as he's just going to be picking up this weave as Ratchet speeds through into that mid lane. You can already see the adaptation coming out of this Rel, right? Before we saw that locket completed, but now has decided to go for that Dead Man's Place rush, which is the optimal practice, I'd say, for this Rel movement speed. It's so important for these engaged supports as teleport being committed by the side of Pagoda. Oh, they're looking for the Drake. Didn't keep track of that timing. I was a little confused why they were TPing onto a phase rush. Udyr running at the speed of light, but they summoned the Rift Herald into the top lane as 00 is trying to find Turtle here. That one last auto attack, not going to do it, but he's being rotated on by Pagoda, and he just might be caught up there. And this should be a free kill for this Fiora as the Ocean Drake goes down on the side as Cloudburst is able to get him away. Obi Toppin here is looking for blood, and he just zooms down the lane. Philip also looking for 00. Cloudburst not able for 00 as well. Obi Toppin actually just going to take him out here as they flash forward onto 00, committing that Ratchet ultimate. But Tybro is here, and Pagoda doesn't have any mana to do much. Has to play off these vitals. Dodges away from the Zenith Blade and the Solar Flare. Looking to smooth move his way out of this one. Stevenator's on the back end of this fight, though, trying to look for Ratchet. Tybro going very, very low. Can he trade it back? And Pagoda's actually able to trade one back as Ratchet is going back in. Thought he had the support of his AD carry on Turtle, but just gives another kill to Stevenator. 7-1-6 on this Udyr, and 7-2-5 on Zoe. So just very difficult for Illinois Chicago to find their way into this game, as Fate's Call has been steadily pushing in the top wave with all the shenanigans going on the bot lane, able to pick up that turret and immediately respond to that Rift Herald push. So while Illinois Chicago has picked up a little bit of a Drake lead, they're at dire straits in this game. Obi Toppin is just running through this match on this Udyr. I mean, to be honest, there's not much Udyr can do besides run through a match, but he is providing so much CC and actually quite a bit of damage from this Phoenix stance. If you don't know, multiple pieces of his stance were buffed. He gets attack speed off of his Tiger stance early off the activation, and then is able to pump out the damage with Phoenix Stance, which provides a large burst of damage constantly off of activation and after every third auto attack. So, attack speed and ability haste are perfect for Udyr in this matchup, and you can see how effective it is in this game. Typically, we don't see it snowball this hard, but Obi Toppin showing a mastery over this champion, and honestly, it's probably just because of the skin, right? Skins win games, guys, but they do march their way down into the mid lane. Pick up that, which is going to allow them a little bit more advantage, and they're looking for a little bit of blood too, as nothing really going to land here on the side for Aquinas or on Illinois Chicago, as Obi Toppin is trying to make his way wrap around and just split up the fight. Nothing really to fight here yet, though. Maybe they're just looking for some skirmishes. use some of that power, look for picks. That's really what you want to do on this Zoe. Zoe top and flashes in onto Turbo. Killer Instinct used to get away, but isn't able to do much as the curtain calls, putting him backstage. As Filipino is going all in, is able to shut down Stevenator in the midst of his entire team, just ulting, fearing, and spreading them out. But Pagoda here and the top lane is taking down that turret and steadily split pushing, and all that Illinois Chicago has to do is keep Aquinas occupied in this matchup, as Filipino is able to interrupt Fate's Call, who does take him down, and Raizo here is trying to do the same thing, just annoy the hell out of the enemy team, while this Fiora takes down this inhibitor turret, and soon to be the inhibitor. Fate's Call picks up another kill as the Ignite goes down for Ratchet, but at what cost? Pagoda has taken down this entire top side of the map, and honestly, great macro play coming out of Illinois Chicago, trying to play to their win conditions. They know they're not winning these team fights. They know they don't really have the 2v2 or 3v3 pressure, but if they can drag some of these members from Aquinas out of the way, Pagoda can just split push to his heart's content. Now 4-2-1 on this Fiora, still behind in CS, but he's putting in work. Now, Illinois Chicago does have to be careful though, because this is going to be a huge experience lead going to the way of Fate's Call. If he just sits up here, usually taking down an early inhibitor without having a way to close out the game can be a very, very bad idea, because it just allows the enemy team to farm up those pushing minion waves over and over again if you're not winning that team fight. And unfortunately, I don't think Fiora has the capability to really win out some of these team fights, even in a 5v4 against Aquinas College, right? This Udyr, as long as they're able to stun up and pop these sleepy troubles, it's going to be difficult for them to find some advantages in these fights. So they really need to be working together. The Filipino Asian boy diving to the back line as Cloudburst uses for Turtle. Shockwave is able to double zero. Solar Flare does land onto Turtle. They're all going in on here. Sleepy Trouble doesn't land, but again, PJR picks up another kill as the Drake is spawning in 20 seconds. They're making their way down onto this mid lane as Deadly Flourish does land, opens up the curtain call. Ratchet trying to block the way, cancels it out as he spots Filipino on the edge of this fight, looking to dash in, and now making their way over to the fourth dragon of the game. This Ocean Soul could provide huge benefits for both sides. Pagoda, sensing that an enemy team could just rotate up after this fight, and his team has already lost that first skirmish, just chooses to back off and doesn't want to get caught. So good game sense coming out of him. As we see a pause, and our ADC has disconnected for Illinois Wesleyan. Again, a few more technical issues. Happens around this time. Have been seeing a little bit more in this client. Even my client has been bugged really recently, where my friends list just goes haywire and keeps bouncing in and out, up and down. So it happens from time to time. You see it. It's on a blue moon, not too big of a deal, but we can go over some of these item PowerPoints, right? We do have the Divine Sunderer for Fiora, and also the Grievous Wounds item completed there. I actually don't remember what it is. It's Chem something, but Gore Drinker and Ravenous Hydra completed for Fate's Call. So a lot of lifesteal and sustain coming out of this Aatrox, combined with his kit. Dead Man's Plate had already been completed for Udyr, and now working his way towards a Thorn Mail. So very, very tanky on this Udyr. Not going to see the Lich Bane coming in, just because he needs to be that front line, depending on the rest of his team, to do some of that damage. So Ludens and Horizon focus for this Zoe, just pumping out those paddle stars and making its mark if he's able to land those Sleepy Trouble Bubbles. 2 items completed for the Gen. You can see the power of that Cloud Burst coming through with that Gale Force. And the Collector, just to finish it off and provide a little bit more damage to pick off a few of those targets. Again, Turtle here on this Kaisa is sitting an item behind, but I mean, what can you do? You're 1-5-0 on this Kaisa. You don't have a lead. They're not winning that 2v2. Dead Man's on the Rel, like we had mentioned before, as they're clearing out vision onto the top side of the map for this Baron, and Fate's Call needs to keep Pagoda busy in these side lanes. Just make sure he doesn't burn down these turrets. Hopefully he doesn't get dove here. Pagoda might have the damage at this point just to dive the Aatrox while he is sitting a level up. He has to be very, very careful because he is somewhat squishy, and Pagoda does have quite a bit of damage on here, especially if he finished another item, as Illinois Chicago just decides to go all in on this Baron, actually committing the teleport from Pagoda as well. On Aquinas, I don't even think realizes this is happening, is finally committing those assist pings, saying that they know what's going on, but this is just gone. They burn down this Baron, and good pickup for Illinois Wesleyan as Obi-Tom is trying to buy time. It's just using that bear stance, slowing them down. Deadly Flourish lands on the Pagoda, does ultimate onto Obi-Tom, and he's going very, very low. Sleepy Trouble not quite running, but a shutdown goes over to Rel as Fate's Call has teleported into the back end of the call, and Ratchet is taken out by Jin. So already 2 members down on the side of Illinois Chicago, but they do pick up the Baron. So I would say that's a pretty big win. Not favorable on the trade because that is your split pusher going down, and that's who you want to see on that Baron buff. If you're able to buy time for Pagoda on that Fiora, excuse me, on that sideline who has Baron, you can burn the enemy base to the ground. Unfortunately, not gonna happen here quite yet. Maybe we'll see it in another Baron or two if the game goes that long, but great play overall coming out from Illinois Chicago, just able to find that Baron pick while the Aquinas Saints reset. And that's kind of what you need to do to get back into the game, just being able to trade these objectives, call the enemy team's bluff, and just provide your own strategy and game plan. So we'll see what they can make use of this Baron buff. Maybe it's just to buy time, because unable to get that use effectively, like we said, it had to be on Pagoda. So they are really just buying time at this point and waiting for the next Drake to spawn, which will be in about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. As a little bit of LoL finally in these games here. Still very, very bloody. 33 kills in 25 minutes, over a kill a minute. Not quite as bad as the last game where we were, top in 40s. But so far, Illinois Chicago doing a great job on these side lanes, trying to play to that win condition. Sitting in a bush here, maybe trying to see if they can catch out one person. But Pagoda is on the top side, so Fate's Call is responding to that. Has to be careful. Does have the Bramble Vest picked up to stop some of Pagoda's healing, but Obi Toppin might have found his pick that he needs to do. Cancels Eye Turtle here. Deadly Force lands, and he's just gone. A good Paddle Star from Stevenator, just taking out this Kaisa as they have to commit the ultimate as the Stair Gauge coming through. But we have a skirmish here on the top lane with this Fiora and Aatrox going back and forth. Fate's Call being very, very confident on this Aatrox now with that ultimate. They're trading them back into the bot side of the map, but he doesn't want this to go down as a good Repose is able to take him up. But Fate's Call wins the 1v1 on this Fiora, and you can see the power of this Aatrox now coming through with all this sustained, and that previous counter pick of Fiora into Aatrox isn't quite as true in the new season with these item changes. So Pagoda not finding success on this pick, as you can see all the item advantages and the XP lead that Fate's Call has gone off of that early inhibitor push, right? That was just free farm for the Aatrox, and they keep pushing in, and his team was winning the fight as Raizo has to burn the cleanse. Doesn't have his flash quite yet, but he almost gets slain as well, as again, this Udyr and Zoe combo. As long as you just hit that bear stance, punch him with those paws, stun him up, it allows Stevenator on the Zoe to smack him with that Paddle Star without even needing a Sleepy Trouble bubble. Doesn't have to force for some of these plays, but it's working out beautifully for the side of the Saints as they're now establishing a little bit of a vision line across for this next Drake. Looks like that's going to be their play as Stevenator is handed over to the blue buff by this Udyr. 8, 2, and 12 on this pick, working wonders in this game, and you can see some of the extent of this XP lead all across the map, right? I think Aquinas has been doing a great job just managing their minion resources as a quick teleport for Stevenator to get back on the map, just picking up that Void Staff to cut through some of the shields and mitigation that Illinois Chicago has picked up very cheap at this point as well. So just a quick pickup as Fate's Call is able to farm out some of this jungle now. Level 16 on this Aatrox. And all that healing coming out of Aatrox's ultimate is just ridiculous. I don't think Pagoda really stands a chance, is able to land a nice Repose into a stun as Obi Toppin is maybe sniffing out some of these characters over here. He is our, resident jungle shaman here and is wise to the ways of the forest, so understands what's going on in these bushes as Stevenator is playing very aggressive on this Zoe, getting into the faces as the other team as Illinois Chicago has done a full reset. All of their members here as we're pulling in Nayram here on the Rift. Everyone coming to the mid lane except for Fate's Call, who's pushing out that top side. Does have that inhibitor still up. Now has reached 60, not 600, my god. 60 CS ahead of Pagoda on the top lane. Has 3 items completed versus, I would say 2.5. I don't think the Chem Sword really counts as a full item here for... Oh my lord, Turtle just gets blown up with that deadly flourish and Stevenator here as the Sleep Trouble doesn't land onto Ratchet, but he's going down. Shockwave just tickles this Udyr here onto the back end as the Curtain Call just finding Ratchet, slowing him down for the rest of the team. Tybro stunning him up, giving the kill over to Stevenator. How very nice of his jungler and support, just giving him all these kills. Makes it super easy for Stevenator as long as you land these stuns, overlap them. Illinois Wesleyan characters are just down 1-7 on this Kai'Sa. Hasn't been able to find success in these two matches. Just the chaos coming out of Aquinas College as they take down the first inhibitor turret, taking down the inhibitor as well. We have Baron spawning in 15 seconds as they'll zoom their way over to that, and Pagoda is being caught on the enemy side of the map. Does spot out Fate's Call on this blue buff, but he is into these, you know, herd of animals just running straight at him. This pack of wolves that is of the Aquinas Saints are trying to find the trail as he's just running his way through the jungle, maybe just trying to survive. He doesn't know where the enemy team is. He's going right for the inhibitor, so trying to trade back some of that as Obitoppin eats a little bit of those fruits, slows him down just a bit as the dissonance again is buying them space and time. But Fate's Call has found Pagoda 2 levels up on this Fiora. Flash is just going completely for this inhibitor, but if he goes down, this could be a free Baron for Aquinas, and already they're making their way over here as Fate's Call is just getting danced around by this Fiora, and you can see why they want to pick it into this matchup. He doesn't have his ultimate just yet as Tybro is trying to take up his time. Ratchet flashes in, but there's no damage on the side, just buying time, making sure that they can trade resources as he finally goes down, and 00 picks up his 6th kill of the game. Filipino does take down Privro. A double kill for this Jin here. Stevenator trying to flash away. Filipino and Asian Boy raining hell onto this as a triple kill for 00. Fate's Call trying to flash away. Quadra kill for this Jin in this game. Shut down. Goes over to Pagoda onto this Aatrox. And we'll see what it goes. As Pagoda is just looking maybe to try and end the game here, go for some Nexus push. By that time, he knows if he has enough time into this sideline, he can take out Aquinas' base. But they are going to do a little bit of a reset, and tough match in game 2 of Aquinas Esports versus Illinois Chicago, as these skirmishes are all over the place. Ratchet buying enough time for the rest of his team to clean up these fights, because he knows he's going to go down. He's not really counting on the rest of the team to dive into the backline with him. He just needs to make sure 00 and Stevenator aren't laying down the damage onto Raizo, Filipino, and Pagoda in these fights. If he's able to separate these fights effectively, he's doing his job and making sure that Aquinas Esports can't get a lead in these skirmishes. Now they are setting around the bot side of the map. Ocean Drake spawning in 1 minute, trying to get some vision advantage, because that's the name of the game at this point. You need to be at these objectives first, know what's going on, find picks with your Sleepy Triple Bubble as Ratchet has to go away, but Tybro Zenith Ray is able to find him out. Pagoda is in this fight. Can he get the work done as Solar Flare isn't able to land? TP coming in, another ultimate coming through. Obitoppin very, very, very low. Aatrox getting pushed out as Filipino going in with his ultimate. 00 now caught up in the middle of 5 people. That's not where you want to be. An excellent flash as 3 members go down on the side of Aquinas. This should be an easy pickup for Illinois Chicago, and now Pagoda in the later stages of the game carrying on this Fiora with Filipino Asian Boy in the back line together. They are making a mess of Aquinas' back line. And the Saints need to be very careful in going for these picks. Try not to commit too much here. They need to play some front to back and burst down this Fiora with what damage they can. However, they are lacking in some of this consistent damage, right? You have this Zoe, you have this Jin, and that is all up front. If you can't kill this Fiora in the first few seconds of the fight, she is out-sustaining. She is burning your tanks with the Divine Sunder, with her ultimate, the Grand Challenge. And again, they've decided to just throw out this Baron. Sleepy Trouble isn't able to land here. As Tybro just walks up, gets the stun, Deadly Flourish does come down, and the Curtain Call coming through. Turtle being slept up as well. And these members are so incredibly low, and they just have to run away from this Baron. And maybe Aquinas has decided to take it up themselves as they're looking for a little bit more. And they should just start this one up, as Illinois Chicago just has made a massive error trying to set that up into a Zoe without the proper sequencing. And this, while they trade a Drake and now Soul Point for both these teams. That is a Baron buff at 33 minutes for Aquinas College, and this could very well be the move that they needed to take down this game. As Fate's Call has been on the top lane, but you can see Illinois Chicago isn't even able to contest the great purple worm there in the top side of the jungle. So now we wait for the great action that is this match 2. Again, this will come down to another big team fight unless Pagoda is able to somehow find one of these miracle 1v1s that he needs to end the game. Death's Dance coming for this Fiora is able to mitigate, 33% of the damage over 5 seconds. So that's going to be feeling very, very good to him. Will no longer be able to be burst down quite as heavily against, this Aatrox, against this Jhin, and, well, not against the Zoe. It is physical damage only that is mitigated here, but it will feel good nonetheless. Ability haste, damage, and mitigation all feels great to Fiora. Now level 17. Multiple items come through for each side. We did have the Leandries completed for Raizo. Forgot to mention apologies there, which is, more ability haste, more dissonance, more time, more space for this team to do what he needs to do. Not really great at, killing some of these members, as Aquinas just trying to call the bluff here. They have Baron buff, so as long as Fate's Call can, take time against Pagoda and not go down, he should have what they need to finish this off. As Pagoda just not taking any damage, just able to dash around all these Aatrox. Grand Challenge isn't coming through just yet as a flash in from Ratchet combined with an ultimate. 0 just goes down to Raizo there in this fight, and this is looking dire for Aquinas College. Turtle stunned up, but also away with that killer instinct. Stevenator going very, very low, stuns what he can. Obi Toppin and Tybro doing what they can in this fight, but Tybro being locked up and shut down. That's that double kill for this Hecarim, as Pagoda and Fate's Call are just dueling it out. And at the top side of the map, as the Grand Challenge does come down, Fate's Call flashes away, but Pagoda does take him out in the 1v1. And this is a huge lead for Illinois Chicago. Pagoda might be able to end the game off of this push. Obi Toppin do what he can, just try and push out this minion wave. But that incredible amount of passive damage hitting those Prio's Repose does land. Obi Toppin might just go down to this Fiora. Flashes around, but he's stunned up with that Bear Stance, taking damage with those Baron buff minions, and the Tower C flashes in a shutdown for Obi Toppin on this Udyr. But you can see the power of this Fiora coming through against this Aatrox. While he struggled into the early mid game with Fate's Call making some excellent plays and Filipino spending all of his time at the top lane, it is now coming to fruition into the later stages of the game, and this is what you want to see from this Fiora into the top lane matchup. But Aquinas just getting engaged on by this Rel and this Orianna, just that combo itself combined with the Hecarim there, overlapping with his ultimate, fearing, locking everyone down. If 0 is just a little too far up and Stevenator is just a little too far up, they get instantly burst down and need to be very, very careful with their positioning. Now 4 items completed for this Jhin. Multiple pieces of crit chance, right? He has 60 or 40. Oh my goodness, I'm doing math backwards. 80% crit chance, and Infinity Edge has been online for a while. Guardian Angel is coming up soon, but this Ocean Drake now at 50 seconds. Obi Toppin is getting in there, and wow, that paddle star from Stevenator just takes out Turtle, and that is 1 down already on the side of Illinois Chicago. And they just got a little bit too big for their britches there and disrespected all the power coming out of this Zoe and Udyr combo. And it's happened time and time again as another Sleepy Trouble bubble lands and they find Pagoda here in the jungle. But they have to be very, very careful. They're all front load. Deadly Flourish does land onto this Rel, who isn't able to get back into the fight if she's already bursted. Pagoda doing what he can. Multiple shots coming in through from that Jhin. They're running him down. Grand Challenge used just for a little bit of movement speed, and Fate's Call takes down Pagoda with the rest of the team, and this could be the push that they needed to win this game. They're not even going for the Drake. That is 2 members down. That is their main damage dealer down on the side of Illinois Chicago, just far too up, and this match without the rest of their team, and a great pickoff from Obi Toppin and Stevenator from the mid lane in the enemy jungle might just been what has sealed the fate for Illinois Chicago in match 2 as they're doing what they can. They're going in. Tybro just locking up Raizo, so they're not able to lock out all of the Orianna damage, but 1 goes down to Stevenator. Obi Toppin trying to flash through. Ratchet trying to get onto 0, but Fate's Call finally takes him down. Illinois doing what they can to go on the last stand. 0-0 is going on to the stasis. Obi Toppin beelining for this Drake here as they're pinging out their Nexus towers, and Filipino being able to provide enough damage to keep this game going. Just dashing in, pushing them out. Raizo at a quarter health here. Fate's Call has to be very, very careful. He does have the Conqueror stack, trying to turn back onto Raizo, but Filipino Inojoy is just doing so much damage, and Raizo finally takes him down as Pagoda has TP'd on the top lane of the base. They're trying to reset here. Pagoda, though, making short work of the second Nexus turret. Udyr trying to back. This might not be it, though, as he's trying to get that bear stance down. The Nexus is halfway over. Do they have the damage? Jin just running all the way through. The Nexus down to a quarter health. Stun. Riposte comes through. Almost there. And game 2 goes over to Illinois Chicago. Pagoda sitting at 15 health or more on this. Fiora is able to turn that game around. And we will go to match 3 of Aquinas Esports versus Illinois Chicago. As we take a short break between these next few games, just incredibly close match in game 1 and now game 2. And we will see who takes the crown in this next series here as it all comes down to game 3. We will be right back. Hello and welcome to our third and final match of the night between Aquinas Esports and the University of Illinois Chicago. First two games were a total bloodbath, and already we're seeing a few more draft adaptations in this game. Aquinas College has decided to go over to the blue side again like they did into the first match, and Kaisa seeing some high priority in this game. Picked up, we'll see it now for the third time, and hopefully Double Zero will have a little bit more success than Turtle has on this pick. No flame to Turtle, but going 1-8 on Kaisa, not really the best look when you're having full engaged comp. So we'll see what Double Zero can do on the second skinned Icathian Rain Killer Instinct Assassin Mage killer that is Kaisa. Now Camille and Fiora banned out by Aquinas. They've decided they don't want to deal with any split pushers in this game, trying to get Fate's Call onto a safe pick on this top lane and provide some more team fight presence. Shen hasn't been taken off the table, but Seraphine, Twisted Fate, and Olaf has. And now, with Kaisa off the board, Illinois Chicago has gone for a tried and true combo of Misfortune and Rill. Ratchet here on this Rill has probably been the saving grace on this team, just finding so many excellent engages, providing so much CC, and buying time for the rest of his team to clean up some of these fights, with Pagoda and Filipino on these other picks to just burst into the backline or take out the front line and the damage dealers, while Ratchet is just soaking up Double Zero and Stevenator's attention. And now we have the Hecarim picked up for Obi Toppin, and Shen for Fate's Call, again just mirroring that first game in that top lane matchup. But Zac probably for Filipino in the jungle. Now we do see a few Zac top lanes every once in a while, but we won't know where this one ends up quite yet. But focusing a lot heavier on the dive and on the engage, the long range engage for Illinois Westland, as Stevenator Syndra is being taken off the table. And we will see now what Aquinas chooses to respond with. 3 more bans left in this match. It is the third and final, like I said before, so it all comes down to this. What does Aquinas have in their draft plan? What will they pull out for this match, as Aatrox being taken out for Pagoda? Focusing quite a bit of attention on that top lane, Pagoda was able to be very effective on the Fiora on the later stages of the game. And even though he fell quite a bit behind, into the early mid stages, with the help of Filipino there, they were able to dive to these backlines, get a few more skirmishes than Aquinas would have liked, as Galio is taken away from Stevenator or from Tybro. Leona's still up for Aquinas. Might be something we see again. Has been 2 games in a row for Tybro. I think he's been doing an excellent job on this Leona thus so far. Maybe we'd like to see a little bit more roaming out of him, but Solar Flares had been going a little bit wide in the last parts of these team fights. Maybe a little bit of mental fatigue setting in for both of these sides, as the scorelines have been obnoxious for both sides. Just kills trading back and forth in the game all over the place on Summoner's Rift, as Orianna picked up for Ryzo yet again in this composition. You can already see it is a team fight, wombo combo. Just get in your face, press R, and jump into the backline. Same as it's always been for this team. They're just making so much use out of this Rel and Orianna combo specifically, and now they're saying, okay, well, if Turtle isn't able to use that killer instinct aggressively, isn't able to pump out that damage getting behind in lane, let's just have the Misfortune just bullet time all over the rest of the map there, and doesn't really have to do much else besides press the R button. So just taking away a little bit of misplay options from Turtle and saying, let's do it really simple, as Alistar picked up for Tybro and LeBlanc for Stevenator in this mid lane, so they can go for a few more picks. Alistar is excellent disengage or engage if they choose to do so. A little bit of mismatch on the side of Aquinas College, so it is going to come down to the outplay here. And Poppy being hovered here for the top laner. We'll see what he tries to pick up, completely out of the wheelhouse so far, but it's actually going to be Rise into the top lane. Again, another split push champion. I don't expect Pagoda to play the Orianna top, though we actually did see it with Xiaohu playing it over there in the LPL, I believe. Watched that game. Actually did very, very well, but did have a lot of jungle attention to kind of mess up that matchup. Was a big jungle difference that game, I'd say, but he was able to play the Orianna top very, very effectively. But they are going to put in the hands of Ryzo, and Ryze will go into Pagoda. So again, using that split pusher there in the side lane, trying to get down some of these inhibitor turrets, and then use that realm warp of that TP to get back into some of these fights. And Ryze is going to be feeling pretty decently into this Shen. The Shen does have the Twilight Shroud to block those auto attacks, but obviously Ryze is a spell-based champion, so magic damage, not something that can really be blocked by that Shen, so we'll have to see how he uses that passive shield and trading those autos effectively, and if he can land those taunts to lock down the Ryze, because other than the Realm Warp, if Ryze gets locked down, he will probably bring Phase Rush. He doesn't have a lot of mobility in this kit, so he has to be very, very careful in this matchup. Now, this LeBlanc is something we've kind of been eyeing a little bit because it's a little bit different than some of these other picks that we've seen. We saw the Syndra, we saw the Zoe doing an excellent job of picking. LeBlanc can obviously do a decent job of picking off individual targets, but these are some beefy boys on the side of Illinois, Chicago, right? You have the Zek, you have the Rel, and you have the Orianna, throwing out her ball on top of people for some more shields. And Turtle wasn't really the problem last game, so having this LeBlanc to kill the AD carry wasn't really on the radar. So probably be looking to balance some of these side lane pressure, try and burst down the Ryze before they can get the ball rolling. Working with this Alistar, I'd like to see Tybro roam a little bit more, but you are with the Kaisa, right? You do have an excellent kill lane in this matchup, and the Hecarim coming in over top, just reigning in terror with his ultimate, providing so much dissonance in these team fight, distracting people, pushing them out, just overall just being an incredible nuisance on this Hecarim and hopefully taking one or two down with him. We'll see what Obi Top can do on this Hecarim because he's had a great series so far, and it really is kind of a battle of the titans here between Obi Toppin and Pagoda and that top lane who's really been carrying these few games. And now we'll wait and see as we are going to be loading into the Summer's Lift. We'll take a short break here, grab some coffee or some water or some tea, whatever beverage of your choosing it is around dinner time at 6 o'clock. I personally will be having pizza, but maybe if you have some ramen, if you're a college student, or cook up a good meal, some stir fry, do what you need to do. We have a few minutes before we jump into this next match, so we will see you soon, but don't go anywhere because we will be back. Hello and welcome back to another pause screen for match 3 of Aquinas Esports versus Illinois Chicago. We've had a few technical issues. There is, a big storm on its way, so get out your shopping while you can. But watch this match first, because it has all come down to this. Match 1 went over to Aquinas. Match 2 through a big fight there, and Pagoda on this Fiora was able to turn the match around and able to take down the Nexus with just a few hit points left, and that went over to Illinois Chicago. So now we've reached the climax of this series to match 3 of Aquinas Esports versus University of Illinois Chicago. Wow. These games have been intense. Scorelines have been incredible and insane. This is, probably like the 8th draft after our first draft for match 1 went on about 5 times, but we're finally going to be loading into the game here. All these players are saying that they are ready, so we should be jumping onto the Rift. Maybe a quick item check. We have Ubi Tompin not picking up his items just yet, so hopefully he doesn't mess this one up and is able to pick into the shop before he runs out. He does. Sometimes you see that a little bit cheesy there. With a quick pause, you can just mess up what your opponent's thought process is. Looks going to be a typical 5-point. Oh, but look at this. Pagoda hasn't started Sweeper this time, so not looking to pressure up that level 2. Not really in that matchup where he needs to. However, it's not that fair, but maybe it is. He is actually setting up that reset. We'll see what he decides to do there. And yep, you know what, he's going to do it again. This third time, we've got to learn by now. Pagoda likes to place down a ward and then sweep over to the Sweeper and get that level 2 first in these matchups. So it is a 5-point for most of the rest of this team. It is Conqueror for Obi Toppin's Hecarim and the jungle, so we're not going to see any phase rush shenanigans, not going to be running out and assassinating over people. He does have to get through that thick front line of Rel and Zek. Just run right through and then just sustain out some of this damage while pumping it out those himself. We do have Pagoda not spotting a ward this time, so he won't get that use out of that, as we do have both junglers starting on the bot side of the map, clearing up, looking for that Scuttle Crab. Eyes on Filipino this game. He is on Zach, which is much higher presence of engage over some of these walls, and you won't always see him coming. So Aquinas Esports needs to do a great job of setting up vision and being aware of jungle presence on the map, as Steven Ader just trying to trade with Raizo, pops the electrocute there, and just going back and corrupting potion for both of these laners. But Raizo does have the teleport there, so you might be able to do a few more resets here, while Steven Ader is looking more to win this lane in this matchup, as Tybro and Double Zero, as well as Turtle and Ratchet, just looking to harass their opponent as much as they can in these matchups, maybe cause a little bit of chaos here and set up some jungle pressure, as Comet is taken for misfortune for Turtle here, so as well as Tyr. So just looking for that mana start. Might see a Mana Moon come out as long with some lethality items, and just hail out all this damage from this misfortune at a mile away without any real counter engage or chance to respond, as actually Obi Toppin here trying to wrap around to the mid side of the map, trying to make use of this pressure. Steven here is trying to hop around as the chains land onto Raizo. Obi Toppin actually using the ghost, pushes him all the way back. Raizo has to flash away, is ignited. Obi Toppin's trying to go for the kill here, and first blood goes to Obi Toppin on this Hecarim with an excellent wraparound gank into that mid lane. Steven Ader making it close to, is able to land those chains. With that ignite, is able to finish off Raizo. So excellent pickup for the Hecarim early, and you can already see some of that snowball going, as Filipino has ended up, as we see a short trade into the mid lane. Again, chains connect, so that TP had to be burned for Steven Ader. Still feeling pretty decent, doesn't have any charges of the corrupting potion left, but is going to get that reset with the push on the tower. But as I was saying, Filipino did finish up his first part of the clear, I would say, right? He's been choosing to skip these Krugs in this matchup, just prioritizing Scuttle Crab. No, he doesn't quite have the advantage in some of these jungle matchups in a 1-to-1, so he wants to get to the Scuttle first, as Pagoda is spending all of his mana here into the top lane, does have that tier as well, just trying to push this wave in and get an early reset for this Rise. Pretty common trick for a lot of these laners that have to spend a lot of the mana, just pick up something early, like a, Sapphire
a lot of the Sapphire Crystal, but a tier as Tybro is looking for blood onto Raizo here. Uses the flash engage. Stevenator flash as well. Chains do land. He's going down again for the second time in this game. Tybro picks up the kill onto Raizo, and Raizo on this Orianna is getting the treatment that Fate Skull has had in the first 2 matches of this series, and he is not feeling great as Tybro is able to hit some of those roams with that LeBlanc, and that's exactly what we wanted to see in this game. Out of this Alistar, Stevenator just holding this wave right at the edge, making sure that he can burn some of this experience and have the rest of the team come through as Ratchet and Filipino are trying to push this one in, making sure that Raizo is able to get a decent wave management reset here. So great job by them, just trying to prove through, but Stevenator holding that wave even with all that pressure. So he's just being a tremendous nuisance on this LeBlanc. RD002 would like to see one of those kills go around, but the Ignite ticks and you can't do anything about it as 00 and Turbo are getting a soft reset here into the bot lane as the Drake comes up. Infernal Drake this time around, so no Infernal Soul. Stevenator again playing so aggressive. Obitop in here again as the chains connect, and Raizo has been taken down for a 3rd time in 5 minutes in this match as a TP comes out. Taunt onto Ratchet, Pagoda going in, but Ratchet's so low. Obitoppin's low as well as Filipino is able to flash in. Obitoppin goes down. Fate's Call left in the middle of this. The chains are trying to connect onto here. Turtle roaming into the level as well. Fate's Call has to flash away. Pagoda quickly follows in a double kill from Pagoda in the top lane with a great teleport here, as now that was 5 members from Illinois, Chicago here into the mid lane, but Ratchet going for Stevenator, and Turtle flashes for the kill, but Stevenator picks up a second. It's going to lose a little bit of XP from these minions, but that's not too great for either side, to be honest. This LeBlanc could be very, very ahead in this matchup in Raizo. 0-3-1 on this Orianna. It's going to be feeling somewhat terrible. He does have the rest of his team on his back. So Obitoppin and Tybro are looking for him again as he goes all the way in. He doesn't have anywhere to go as Obitoppin is just going all the way through. His Ghost is almost up, but Raizo's pretty much almost dead to Tybro here. The Ghost does connect, and no one's around to save him this time. The distance is buying him time. Rel goes in, but another kill for Obitoppin, and Raizo, what are you doing? You're pushed all the way far up as the rest of the team resets, and they're looking for Ratchet as well, but Stevenator decides to displace back into the mid lane, and that is going to be an easy Infernal Dragon picked up for Aquinas College. And Raizo, man, you got to be more careful. You know they are hounding you. They are on your back all game, and just Aquinas College has picked him out from this bunch, and they're bullying him, to be straight up. This is cyberbullying if I've ever seen it. And, we've had a few seminars on that, and I don't think that Obitoppin and Tybro have been a huge fan of Raizo in these games, but they are able to make some leads out of this. They do have Pagoda on the top side of the map, wailing down in the Shen, as they are picking out Rift Herald here. So Aquinas College looking to make a play on the bot side. They do have Obitoppin here, maybe just clearing his way up onto the Rift Herald. They were very, very strong at this point in the match. They do have that that sword completed for this Hecarim, so his clears can be extremely sped up. He is a little bit behind on terms of camp clearing, but what does that even matter when you're 2-1-1 on this Hecarim? But Zach is hovering around the bot side of the map, hoping to make a play off of these champions. Typer doesn't have a flash, but he can headbutt, pulverize, and interrupt Filipino on this Zach, who is level 6. So if Tybro has the presence of mind to just be aware of all these things, as LeBlanc is traveling all the way to the bot lane, but I don't think they know where Filipino is. He's still hanging out in this brush. He's looking for the kill onto 00. He has flash and killer instinct as the ultimates do come through. He's able to flash out as they go right onto Turtle, and they thought they had the matchup, but the Shen ultimate comes through, and LeBlanc picks up our 3rd kill of the game as Filipino is being chased down. Does have his blobs to resurrect. Obitoppin is taking up so much damage. No, 00, he almost taken down. They're trying to get it. The Icathian Rain will come through. Obitoppin does go down to Filipino as Ratchet is claiming over here. Stacks are putting up for the 2nd skin, and 00 picks up a double kill as Raizo does have the shockwave, is able to take him out. Stevenator is really, really low on mana, but Raizo has to flash away from Tybro and Stevenator on this LeBlanc. Finally gets onto the scoreboard at 1-4-1, but Pagoda on this top lane. That is now 2 turret plates for this Rise, while the Shen is 0-2-1. He's providing so much teamfight potential, but there wasn't an objective to fight over in the bot lane. That was just a show of force for both sides. You had Filipino trying to make a play on the bot side of the map with that misfortune, and Rel ultimates coming through. Rather, misfortune's bullet time, but Rel doesn't have 6, so she doesn't have her ultimate yet. But they're able to secure, a few kills off of that, but Aquinas is able to turn it around. But again, Pagoda is the real winner in this situation, getting further or further ahead in this side lane. That's what Aquinas wanted to avoid by banning out so many champions on the top side of the map, right? They got rid of the Camille, they got rid of the Fiora, they got rid of the Aatrox, but Ryze being found out as this next pick because Ratchet is just hovering on the mid side of the map. They know Ryzo is just being heavily abused in this matchup, so they're calling out their jungler and support to give them a little bit more leeway and a little bit of more breathing room in this, as Stevenator is looking maybe to do a reset. Rift Herald has spawned, both teams choosing to forgo an immediate fight for that objective. Stevenator just waiting in this bush, doesn't spot out Filipino, but the ward does, right as Stevenator moves around. He knows that Ryzo has backed, but he does have the teleport if he wants to make a play, but there is no Scryer's Bloom for Filipino here, so they won't know that the Rift Herald has been completely started out. No pings coming down. They do have a good deep ward from Pagoda in that jungle, as Ratchet uses that W. Just a few different rail mechanics, right? If you really want to engage, you can start on your dismounted form and then mount again to flip them into your team while you have that shield able to soak a lot of that minion wave as well, just to hold it like this. You can see him now posturing forward for that engage, as Pagoda is just trying to look for that solo kill onto OB top, and who does pick up the Rift Herald. Tries to ult away, doesn't quite make it over the wall, as Pagoda is going to commit the flashes. He actually does have vision with that. He actually flashes over, as Fate's Call's taunt does miss, and that is an easy kill for Pagoda, and just uses the Realm Ward to get out, as Shen doesn't have any CC to stop him if he misses that taunt. So good, rotate over from Pagoda. He's able to take out that solo kill, and unfortunate for Obi Toppin to go down and waste that ultimate as the flash in for Ratchet. Again, bullet sight coming through, but Dragon Repel is used. He doesn't go down 0-0 as the Shen is coming through. Double taunt onto Eternal. Fate's Gall is taking down one as he's able to land the Void Seeker. The second skin is about to go through. A good pulverize from the Aatrox, but she just jumps over the wall. Fate's Gall flashing through, but again, so low, but is able to survive. Stevenator, though, doesn't want that to happen as the chains land as well. As Stevenator flashes to keep it going, Filipino has to flash away, but they're going to continue chasing. Stevenator trying to do what he can. He's so low, the Ignite should finish him off, as he doesn't have his blobs to resurrect. As Stevenator now 5-1-4 on LeBlanc, while he's falling behind on CS. You have so many kills, and you almost have a completed Dark Seal at this point, so we'll see if he chooses to finish that one up after he completes his Luden's Echo. And he's feeling confident on this LeBlanc, and you can see why he chose to pick it in some of these skirmish-heavy fights, and he knew that this match was going to be such as it has been this entire series. But again, Pagoda picking up another turret plate, has the Rift Maker complete, as they're summoning the Rift Herald to the mid lane to get some more gold advantage for LeBlanc here, as they've rotated 3 members here. Stevenator, though, getting engaged upon on the Zac, just getting completely locked up. Double stun. Stevenator trying to trade back onto Ryzo here, get some of that gold, but he gets shut down by Ryzo. And Stevenator just not respecting the fact that they had all the players reset for Illinois University. They could be anywhere on the map. You have no vision there, and he just sticks around a little too long, and Filipino just finding a great engage to shut down Stevenator on this pick. However, Pagoda on the top side of the map has, again, got some more deep vision in that ward. Fate's Call, 2 levels behind Pagoda in this matchup. And Tybro just looking, hold some of this wave for the rest of the team. No one around to help him. But Obi Toppin's ghosting in here is actually ulted onto Pagoda, who's so low. Taunt coming through. He doesn't have flash, remember, and Realm Work is super long cooldown. So Fate's Call picks up his 2nd kill of the match here. And Obi Toppin just barreling through the top side of the map to get that kill onto Pagoda and shut him down. It is a little odd to see here that we do actually have a bounty on Fate's Call 2-2 into only 79 CS and 2 levels behind of Pagoda, but actually has a bounty on this map as Filipino is looking for 0-0, just gets locked up, stunned, double stun. Bullet Time coming through, flashes and uses the killer instinct away, and he's actually headbutted away from Typro, just saving his life as Stevenator picks up the kill onto Ratchet, and Turtle has to flash away, and 0-0 here, pulling off a miracle and getting away with excellent mechanics by Typro and 0-0. Great job there in the bot lane, but it was close, and you can see the power of some of that engage if they're able to lock him down with, Ratchet coming through with Filipino there, and on that Zac, and the bullet time on top of it just does so much damage. But Pagoda is able to take down the first turret of the game, just poking out Fate's Call as they're zooming down to the bot lane. It is double Drakes picked up for Aquinas. Did not mention that before, but they should be able to stack up these Drakes. We'll see if Pagoda is able to continue pushing down these side lanes and get a big enough lead that he's able to carry out some of these fights. But he's not quite on the mobile champions that he was before, that it's not going to be as easy for him to dish out some of this damage against the likes of a Kaisa, LeBlanc, and Hecarim, who are just all over the map. As you can see, Tyro just comboing him here, but the rest of the team's not quite here, as Filipino is all right as well. He's actually being stunned up and ulted by Filipino, but the Shen ultimate's coming through. They're not able to lock him down as multiple members have been found in the river by Illinois University, Chicago, and Aquinas Esports, as 0-0 is just sitting in the bush in the bot lane, looking for a little bit of pick, decides to go on, and Kathy and Rain split up between multiple people, but he's going down. Second skin providing so much damage with the Kraken Slayer, and 0-0 picks up a solo kill onto Turtle on this bot lane. 1-3 on this Kaisa, had completed the Kraken Slayer. Coming up on his next, Q Evolve against the Eclipse Misfortune. Misfortune here, really more of a supportive carry in this game, right? In context of his team, Turtle has been playing more supportive here, I would say, in these roles, but the rest of his team is pushing along. He's been farming up some waves and getting some good AoE damage on this Misfortune. Now, the Rel is here to pick up some of these things, but 0-0 picks up the bot lane turret for free off of that solo kill. So 0-0 making his own way in this game, while Stevenator is picking up so many kills. And we'll see if they're able to burst down the side of Illinois, Chicago in this game with these Fed members, as the University of Illinois takes a reset and is looking for the way on the boss side of the map, maybe looking for a play here, as Rise was being found out by Stevenator, and the full combo just about takes him down, has to flash away from Stevenator's Ignite, level 11 to level 10. That's easy mid lane priority for this Drake, and Raizo doesn't have the teleport to match that. So if Aquinas can keep finding some of these packs, as Obi Topping's here on Turtle, but Pagoda is here as well, doesn't have the ultimate, but Golden Tide goes down. Turtle actually uses his heal here, but he is dead regardless, as Pagoda does have to flash away. Obi Topping getting very, very low, but 0-0 is able to take him down with Fate's Call, flashing in for good measure, and that should be the Ocean Drake picked up here for Aquinas. Now 8 seconds. Stevenator looking for blood here. Filipino. The chains do land, but don't lock him up, as he is able just to run away there with that Zac, that elastic slingshot, giving him quite a bit of distance here. As Obi Toppin and 0-0 turn their eyes onto this Ocean Drake. Now 3 Drakes to none, and this is a dangerous win condition, as Stevenator's fueling himself as he flashes in, but the chains don't land, and Raizo is able to scrape his life out of a barrel there, just getting by, just a slither of health. But Typro, oh, you hate to see it, just doesn't land the mechanic, flashes and pulverize instead of using headbutt. Pulverize doesn't find the kill, but the Rel and Zac are here to rotate over, and the rest of his team is trying to keep this mid turret alive. They want to have that priority into the mid lane, because having that vision there and that stability of a tower is huge on Summoner's Rift, as they're making their way over to Rift Herald. Raizo does have the teleport up coming very, very soon, so he should be able to join this fight with the Leandri's Anguish completed. He does have a little bit of boost with those Merc Treads as well, just trying to survive from that Stevenator poke, as they're eyeing the mid lane here. Maybe just clearing it out, providing some more priority, like we said, as Rise on Pagoda, or Pagoda on Rise, has started up this Rift Drake, and Aquinas College are hovering around here. Don't know if they want to do this. Looks like Obitop is just prioritizing some more of that farm here on this Hecarim with the Divine Sunderer. Just farming that up, knowing they don't quite have the tools or the numbers here to really contest that objective. As Filipino Android is looking for 0-0. The Q lands, but he doesn't have anyone to latch it onto, as Again, just having that make it rain, just so annoying for Double Zero and Tybro as Shen ultimate coming through, but a great headbutt polarized combo from the Alistar finds 3 members, and Steven Nair's already taking down Raizo. Turtle going low as well as Obi Toppin finishes off that kill. Rail on the back side here is going very, very low as Double Zero does finish off the kill. Filipino does have to flash away here in the elastic slingshot. Just is not able to take him quite as round as Obi Toppin is zooming in. Steven Nair is able to land enough damage to make him use his blobs, but Obi Toppin secures the kill, and that is a clean 4 for nothing for the side of Aquinas College as they're making their way down the mid lane. Now, Pagoda does have enough wave clear and quite a bit of damage there to just defend this turret by himself if Aquinas College does not have the tools necessary, but they are going to make their Illinois, Chicago's jungle their own and make it stay here and stamp their place on this rift, taking up as much as you can and giving nothing back. It seems they have learned from Johnny Depp and the Pirates of the Caribbean, and following his words true to heart. As Pagoda does take down that mid lane turret, he's finding some more pressure. Rift Maker completed, as well as the Seraph's Embrace, so does have quite a bit of a mana pool to work with. And enough ability haste to make it worthwhile. Now, Valkyrie sitting in the bush is taunted up by, Fate Skull actually W's away. Does have the blast on there if he wanted to do it, but, Pagoda does have his eyes onto the blue buff here, but all of Aquinas, except for Double Zero on the bot side of the map, have been making their way over here, trying to rotate and stop whatever plays that Illinois and Chicago are trying to do. As the quick lands doesn't land from Ratchet, trying to provoke the Baron and making sure he spits some acid on the rest of the members. Phase Rush procs, and Pagoda sprints away. They're on this rise. Now the next Drake, less than 2 minutes here. And that is an early Ocean Soul if Aquinas College can pull out this fight, as Double Zero is pinging onto Raizo here, fancying himself a 1v1, and why shouldn't he? He has double items. Voidseeker does myth, is able to go through. Shockwave lands onto Double Zero, does about, half his health, but a quick killer instinct to full combo Double Zero quickly makes short work of Raizo here, and Raizo just falling further and further behind on this matchup, isn't able to match really anyone as Steven Nair and Ratchet exchange blows here on the top side of the river, but they don't really have a chance of taking this Baron. I mean, Pagoda is very, very fed here, but there's not a lot they can do, as Steven Nair is actually just rooted up and almost taken down by Pagoda. He has to be very, very careful about when he chooses to engage. As a quick taunt over the wall from Fate's Call, make sure that they can get out alive. And Steven Nair in a very, very dangerous position at the moment. Does have to reset. The Drake is in a minute, so he has time to get back, but he needs to be very aware of the power of this rise. He might not go down right away in one go, as he has the, he has the Verdant necklace there. So he is stacking that magic resistance, making sure that he won't be bursted out by Steven Nair on this pick, and he'll even help him against some of that Kaisa damage and Fate's Call Shen damage there, right? A lot of that damage is magic powered. As Tybro is sitting around this bunch, he doesn't have a lot of his members all the way around him for that quick, as they are now summoning that Rift Herald for some mid lane control, trying to get some vision priority over this mid lane so they can contest for the Drake. And they should just, honestly, Aquinas should just leave that one alone. Obi Toppin, though, is caught in the jungle, just completely rooted up. Tybro finds a great engage into the backline, though. Is able to fear multiple members. Raizo, though, has used the shockwave onto multiple members, but Obi Toppin is taken down. Turtle, multiple members coming low. Ratchet, though, in the middle of 4 people, flashes over the wall. Now Pagoda is getting low. Fate's Call is able to get in there. Double Zero going unstoppable, kills the Rise. Obi Toppin takes down Rise as well. And Steven Nair finishes off the team fight on a kill against Filipino, as now they go for this Drake, but Raizo is on the other side of the pit, maybe trying to make a steal here. Obi Toppin is not in this fight, as he's going straight for Baron buffs, and Aquinas College is going for a 2-for-1 special, as Raizo is aware that they're all around. Steven Nair just jumping over the wall looking for the kill, gets it instead, and now he's on a rampage. Raizo 2-7-2 on this Orion as they finish up the Ocean Drake, have that soul under the belt, and now it's going to be so difficult for Illinois Chicago to find their way into the game. That is Ocean Soul at 23 minutes. That's insane. That's so much sustain out of this, and there's no way that they can find a way to pick up this win with this Baron. If Aquinas College Esports is able to play this right, there is still room for error. This is League of Legends. Throws happen, the fates can be changed, but I don't see a possible way for them to get out of this game. 26-9. Pagoda trying to do what he can, but doesn't have the mobility that he had on all these other picks to really get into these fights and play effectively. Turtle and Raizo just being targeted over and over by the Aquinas Saint. You can see Raizo just not feeling good at this point. Gotta give him credit. He's trying his best. You know, the mental fortitude you have to have in a game like this where he was down, 4 kills or 4 deaths on his side. At 5 minutes into the game has to feel terrible, but they have made it this far, and we'll see what they can do. They have the Wombo combo. If they're able to land it, if Pagoda is able to root up a single member, maybe Stevenator, and burst him down, he's very squishy on this LeBlanc, they might be able to find a way back in, but let's not try and force that narrative too much, as Aquinas College is just running down to this mid lane. Pagoda is really the wave clear that you needed here. Stevenator is just jumping out, providing so much threat onto the side here without that vision. They're able to push down this wave. Pagoda is rotating over here, maybe just looking to steal away some of this jungle, but it's so difficult for Illinois Chicago to get in without the Zac and rail engage. The elastic slingshot does not land onto anybody, as they are just using this cannon wave just to push so much damage on this inhibitor turret. And Stevenator takes down Raizo from over the wall, just has the full combo. And Raizo, for the 8th time this game, is down as Fates calls on the bot side, trying to get some of this down. And Stevenator taking over the game on this LeBlanc. They now have a wave onto the mid and bot side, and it's so difficult for Illinois Chicago really to make their way into. They are missing some of their engaged. Rat decides to go in. Elastic slingshot does find its way here, stunning up Fates Call and Tiber. But these are the tanky boys. Those are not the engage you want to find. As Filipino is already taken to the blob farm. Great ultimate by Rel, is able to pull in over top, but Double Zero is already taken out Turtle, and Filipino goes down as well, and a double kill coming out for Stevenator on that mid lane as Pagoda is gone, and that is going to be at least 2 inhibitors. They still have Baron buff, and this might be the end of the series as they have multiple waves crashing into the base of Illinois Chicago. Aquinas College is looking to finish this one off. They have 5 members versus 2, and those are not the 2 members you want to be as they're trying to go in. Shockwave onto 2 members just tickles Aquinas College at this point as they finish off the second Nexus turret. Double Zero looking for blood here and finishes off Raizo at the end of the game, and a teleport from Fates Call just for style as the Nexus falls and Aquinas College picks up match 3 versus University of Illinois Chicago, and that will seal the deal as Aquinas College will go down to round 3 of College League of Legends. Wow, what an incredible match here from both sides. Been a bloodbath back and forth, and excited to see this win picked up for Aquinas College. Huge props to Pagoda there in the top lane, just providing so much split push presence, and the first 2 games was even able to bash down a few turrets in that 3rd game, but off of those picks like Camille and Fiora, just wasn't able to make the magic happen and not able to navigate those team fights as effectively. So great game from both sides. Again, you can go ahead and follow us here on Twitter at Aquinas Esports. Follow me on Twitter at Helpless Advice. My name has been Blue Jay, and it's been amazing casting this great series. We do stream regularly. Go ahead and follow us, like I said, at Twitter, and follow us on Twitch as well. We have Smash Bros conference and Rocket League, very successful there, and we will see you guys soon. Look out for the next stream. Again, great game to University of Illinois Chicago, and great job Aquinas Saints, and we will see you soon. Stay safe and stay out of solo queue.